Peace, love, and harmony to all of you wonderful deep divers of planet Earth. Once again, peace, love, and harmony to all of you wonderful deep divers of planet Earth. I woke up like this, all magical and fly. I haven't done a live stream for a little while, deep divers. How you feeling? Shout out to everyone who's here. Everybody in the chat. Infinite Waters, I'm back. You know, I've been on holiday, deep divers, been on vacation, right? I'm going to go again. But I said, it's an emergency meeting. We got to talk about this, deep divers. The next big global event is about to strike. Time's ticking. Prepare yourself, right? We got a lot to talk about. And like I always say, whenever I do these emergency meetings, it's always about positivity first and foremost. It's all about good energy first and foremost. I always tell you, this is not the place to be afraid. There's nothing to be afraid of, right? This is the time where we should all really be truly grateful. You know, so many great things are happening right now on the planet. It's really a great time to celebrate. Once again, shout out to everyone who's been getting the #1 best-selling book, Feel Alive by Ralph Smart on Amazon and at ralphsmart.com/thebook. The Good Ass Prana shirts, ralphsmart.com/clothes, spreadshirt.com if you're in America. The Book of 1111 Infinite Quotes by Ralph Smart, #1 best-selling book, Deep Divers. So shout out to everyone who's here. Like I always say, deep divers, let's always start off these streams with good energy, appreciation. Hit that like button, share the video. And you know, I know a lot of you have a lot to tell me, so I'm always listening. I'm always listening to all of you. You got a message, you got a question. If there's something you want me to know, let me know. Like I say, deep divers, let's raise the frequency. We can go 80s or we can go new school. We can go 80s or we can go the new school. What do you want, deep divers? You want the 80s or should we go with a new wave? You know, I've been playing a lot of new songs, but we can go 80s. You know, 80s is always, I know a lot of you like 80s. Shout out to everyone who's here. Oh, we're going to have fun, deep divers. We're going to have fun. Right? Let's raise the frequency. One person saying 80s. 80s. Let's go 80s. We ain't gone 80s in a little while. Let's raise the frequency, deep divers. Let's go. I'm so happy. The whole world is just beginning. We already won. It's about us all. So many beautiful deep divers here. It's a choice. It's always a choice, deep divers, right? That's just a little teaser for the 80s. So shout out to all of you wonderful deep divers. I hope your day is going good. So like I said, I put out that video and you know, a lot of people can feel a lot of change happening right now on the planet. A lot of people can feel something big is about to happen. In fact, a few people have messaged me saying they're having dreams about things happening on the planet, catastrophic events, also just big things in general that are going to really change everything. And we've got to remind ourselves, deep divers, of the times we're in right now. Obviously, there's been a lot of talk about the next pandemic is on the way. Now, a lot of people say, hey, I don't want to hear about that, Ralph. You don't have to hear about it. I don't want to hear about it. But the thing is, it's a reality. And if you're someone like me, who's a deep diver, you already know what time it is. You already know that this is only to be expected, simply because everything happens in a pattern. And this is the reason why you have to really not just relax. You have to really prepare yourself emotionally for what's coming, because it's coming. It's definitely coming. It's on its way. And you have to be ready. The next major event, you got to be ready for the next major event. So I spoke about how a new COVID variant has sparked alarm and put scientists on alert after a highly mutated strain has been discovered in the US. According to the US Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, a new COVID-19 strain, BA.2.86 in Michigan, was placed under the World Health Organization's monitoring list on Thursday due to the large number of mutations it carries. Now, this is very important. The reason why is because, you see, a lot of you out there are doing things. Sometimes maybe you got a new job, you're working in the city, and you're going to have to realize that in the next 18 months. Some people are saying it's going to happen in the next few months, but I'm saying it's going to happen within the next 18 months. You don't want to place all of your eggs in one basket, because when they have another lockdown, your business is going to say bye. You're going to have to say bye to all of that. And this is the reason why you want to find ways to detach from the matrix as much as possible. Shout out to everyone who's here, everybody who's diving deep. You know, I just came to send you some good energy, deep divers. Good energy. So I'll play you the Alex Jones clip, because that's a very telling clip. I'll just get right into it, right? So let me play that clip. Once again, deep divers, shout out to all of you who are here. Everybody who's diving deep. So,
ladies and gentlemen, I got a call yesterday. An individual was in town, and they wanted to meet with me that I know well, and they are a high-level manager. Ladies and gentlemen, I got a call yesterday. An individual was in town, and they wanted to meet with me that I know well, and they are a high-level manager in the TSA. And I went and met with them and had a cup of coffee with them. And they said, you got to warn people. Tuesday, we got called in, the managers, and told that by the middle of September, that the new policy is being written, that this is done. They were told this is happening. This is not hypothetical. You will all have to wear masks again, and so will airport employees. Then by the middle of October, they are going to say that everyone flying has to wear a mask. And in the meetings, people began to ask them, well, I mean, why is this happening? They said, well, because of the new variant in Canada and because of the WHO, they may, declare this, but regardless, we've been told this is going to happen. And then they were told, we expect by December a return to the full COVID protocol of 2020, 2021. And I was given many more details. I wrote down notes on it. Then I left. Called the first federal connection that I was thinking of. Didn't answer. Called the second. Answered. told them what I've been told. And they said, what day was that? I said, Tuesday. They said, yep, we were told yesterday. Yesterday was Thursday, so it was Wednesday. Expect COVID protocols to begin rolling out middle of September. And I said, what else were you told? Basically that they believe this new variant's super bad and that they're doing the testing and that they should just get ready for a whole new rollout of what happened before. And this was Border Patrol connected people I was talking to, and testing at the border again and the whole shooting match. That's 2 federal agents that told me this yesterday. And then I went and looked at the news, and there they were saying Canada's looking at new restrictions again because of the variant, and so is the EU. And what did the Russians just put out 3 days ago? U.S. is plotting another pandemic. Russian head of the defense ministry warns. Now, new lockdowns will starve the third world. New lockdowns will destroy small businesses. New lockdowns will take the average person that's already $5,000 in the hole and their paycheck is just on time, will put them into full bankruptcy. And the children in the mask and the attempt to push a new shot for the new variant, and we're right back in the same hellhole we were in just a few years ago. And why is it perfect timing? Because you go into the election year. They had the last crisis go over 2.5 years. They'll bare minimum run this through the next election. That's only 14, 15 months out with mail-in ballots again. And we have all the eyewitnesses and testimony that they'd get the mail-in ballots. And in some cases, they were 99% for Joe Biden. Who believes that? U.S. Postal Service whistleblowers, USPS, poll watching witnesses. I have it all here. We'll play it next hour. We do not have to sit here and take the same criminal UN, global, WEF, New World Order regimes, second rollout of lockdowns and attempts at forced injections and travel restrictions and being told you're not essential. We don't have to lay down and die. And for the third world, they'll lock them down again under IMF World Bank control. It is a literal death sentence. They estimate over 80 million people starved to death the last 3.5 years because of the COVID restrictions.
Right. So I just played that. I won't play any more videos, deep divers, but that was just good to give you some context, right? But I was saying that way before Alex Jones. And let me say shout out to J Move. Let love guide you. Absolutely. Like I say, deep divers, hit that super chat. Let's spread the positivity. I want to read from all of your comments. I want to display them on the screen. I want to read all of your messages. I know a lot of you have got a lot to say to me, deep divers. This is your chance. This is your opportunity. Shout out to J Move in the house. Let me give you a Don DeMarco. Right. So like I say, deep divers, I've got so much to talk to you about. So much to talk to you about. Let me say a big shout out to Star Phoenix in the house. You're most definitely appreciated. Okay, deep divers, let's dive deep into this whole situation. First and foremost, I still want to send good energy to all the people in Hawaii, Maui. A lot of you know I lived in Hawaii. I lived in Oahu for a little while. Beautiful place. You know, a lot of people don't realize that all of these things which are happening in the world are signs of the times. You know, I showed this picture right here. This picture of a man sitting down really sums up the state of the world right now. And when I saw this picture of what happened in Maui, you know, my heart really just went out to the people there. Because you see, this man sitting on the chair just really sums up that whole situation. It's like, okay, my house has just got burned down and no one's here to help, you know. So we've got to remind ourselves, we got to send good energy to everybody in that region, because a lot of people don't know what it's like to lose a home. A lot of people don't know what it's like to have everything burned down around you, and we've got to remind ourselves that now a lot of people are diving deeper to say, wait a minute, this is not natural. I told you, it's not natural. Nothing is natural. What happened over the last few years wasn't natural. And that's the reason why you have to realize that you are in the age, the times of revelations. You're in a time when, okay, COVID happened, lockdown happened. Guess what? It's not over. You thought it was over. It's not over. In fact, I was walking around. I saw a few people with face masks on. Deep divers. Just like that. I said, okay, what's happening? Because you see, before COVID happened, I remember I went into a supermarket. There was a woman wearing a face mask. I said, what on earth is she doing? It's like almost she knew what was coming. This was before the pandemic. She wore a face mask. I'm like, huh? And you can see it around your city that something is brewing. Tedros, World Health Organization guy, has already said the next pandemic is inevitable. Now, once again, deep divers, we've got to break fear, because fear is how the inorganic ones control you. There's nothing to be afraid of. There's everything to be aware of. Fear is false evidence appearing real. It's not about being afraid, but it's about being smart. You see, a lot of people don't realize that all of this was prophesized. We're in the Kali Yuga cycle. This is the age of hypocrisy, the age of deceit, the age of darkness, the age of ignorance, the age of calamity, the age of destruction. And we're in a very turbulent time on the planet. And this is the reason why you want to make sure you're raising your frequency. You want to make sure you're raising your vibration. You want to make sure you're protecting your energy, because not everyone's going to make it. Hey, 5, you are appreciated. Love you. Love you all. Live in love from Seattle. Absolutely. We got to live in love. We got to live in love. That's what we need right now on the planet. Hey, let me shout out to everyone who's here. Let me give you a round of applause. S. Selick, 2006. Ralph, I've been listening to you and watching you since 2016. You have helped me on my spiritual awakening. You predicted 2020 and my mind was blown. Thank you. Thank you. You see, I predicted the whole pandemic. I made videos before the pandemic that a pandemic would happen. And a lot of people said, gosh, Ralph, how on earth did you know that? Well, it was because I was tapped in. And when you go in, you can see what's coming. When you go in, you can see everything. And I'm telling you now, the next big global event is about to strike. You heard it here first. You see, you've got to remind yourself, things are happening that have never happened before. Maui, it's never happened. That Lahaina, you had wildfires out of the blue. Now, some people say they're directed energy weapons. Who the hell knows what they are? All we know is that something fishy is going on, right? And this is the reason why you have to realize, when they tell you a hurricane is on the way to California, Mexico, it's already there, causing great floods. You got to be ready. You have to be ready. Marissa K, you all appreciate it. Let me shout out to Marissa. Marissa K in the house. You are a warrior. Thank you, and lots of love to you. Hey, I appreciate you. I appreciate you, Marissa. I definitely appreciate you. And, you know, deep divers, it's not that we're in a time of sadness. We're in a time where everything has to end for something new to begin. Someone asked me, they're like, Ralph, what do you mean by things ending? Can't you see the world ending right before your eyes? Do I have to put it in subtitles for you? I'm in social now. The sky is so great. Shout out to you, S. Silic. Times are ending. This version of reality is coming to an end. Babylon is falling. The Matrix is collapsing. The inorganic ones, I told you, they never take a day off. What's happened is that they've now seen that too many people are on the planet. You know, the film Elysium was telling you that they wanted to depopulate the world. That was starring Matt Damon. There were too many people on this planet. So basically, they're the elite, you know, they're trying to get off Earth. Well, that's just a metaphor for what's going on. You know, all of these wildfires, whether it's in Hawaii, all of these places, have you ever noticed that they're only happening in the less off regions? They're not happening where the billionaires live. You know, Oprah's got a few properties there. So does Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg. They all got land in Maui. But their land is always fine, you see. So you got to remind yourself that inorganic ones believe that there's too many people on the planet. And it's simply because people are living longer now. And also urbanization. A lot of people are in these cities, but a lot of the inorganic ones, they don't like this. They want the whole planet for themselves. So a lot of people throughout time have been telling people that there's been an agenda to depopulate the whole planet. Now, you've got to remind yourself, deep divers, this is way bigger than any human being. We're in a world of spiritual warfare. Everything you see happen in the physical world is governed by the invisible world. That's the reason why you got to study the occult. You got to study the occult, all of these things. That's what I've done over a long period of time, to realize that it's not happening from what you see. It's not happening from where you see. It's happening from the unseen realms. And the good news is that you have people right now on the planet who are being sent back to help humanity. You've got people who are the chosen ones, the way showers, the light workers. They are equally as strong as the inorganic ones. You know, like Lord of the Rings, you got Gandalf, then you got the other bad wizard. It's the same thing that's happening right now on the planet. You got forces of good and you got forces of bad. It balances itself out. You have to know which side you're on, and you have to know that you can't serve two masters. You know, with the times we're in right now, you have to know exactly what you're here to do on the planet and what your mission is. Because you see, if you don't, you're going to get caught in the crossfire. A lot of people are so distracted in this matrix, they're going to be in for a rude awakening when there's another lockdown, when there's another pandemic. They're going to say, what happened? I was busy dancing on TikTok. But you see, if you're raising your frequency, you're in the fifth dimension. It's not even going to affect you. But right now, you got to prepare yourself mentally and emotionally for what's coming, because it is coming. You've noticed that we're in a time right now where nothing is surprising. Like, who would have thought there would be wildfires in Maui? Wildfires, right? It's unheard of. A lot of people say there was like a flash before it happened, like a laser beam. Who would have thought that you would have the first hurricane since 1939 in California? No one would have thought this. Who would have thought you would have had a COVID pandemic or whatever? No one would have thought this. Who would have thought people would be locked in their homes? Nobody would imagine. But what if I told you this was all prophesized? A lot of people even spoke about the alien invasion. Bill Cooper, Behold the Pale Horse, right? A lot of people don't even know about that book, right? Go and check out that book, Behold the Pale Horse. He was telling you about how the US military already know that there are ETs on this planet, right? He already knew this. So when you have whistleblowers coming out in Congress, they're not saying anything new that other people haven't said, right? It's just that right now it's getting the recognition globally. But there have been many, many other whistleblowers who have really blown the lid off this thing, right? So you've got to remind yourself, in those days, it was very dangerous to speak about things like that. Now it's a lot easier because now the internet information is traveling faster. We've got to remind ourselves that you want to prepare yourself for what's coming. You know, one of the best ways to prepare yourself, deep divers, is to realize your relationship with fear. I remember when it was 2020, and what did I tell you? 2020 is 2020 vision. This is the time when you want clarity. You want to see 2020. At the same time, the whole world was shut down. But it was also a great time. Why was it a great time? Because it allowed people to go within more than ever. You see, you could have seen it as a bad thing. I saw it as a great thing. This was a time to say, you know what? Let me press pause. Let me rewind. Let me rewind, deep divers. And it was a time for introspection. A lot of people said, oh my gosh, that time I had during lockdown was the greatest time ever, because now I actually know what I want to do with my life. So you've got to remind yourself that even in a so-called bad thing, you can draw a positive out of it. Now, we've got to remind ourselves, deep divers, that our thoughts create our reality. Yes, we can choose to think that whatever happens is not going to affect us, and it won't affect you, because you will be living in a higher frequency and a higher dimension. But just because you're not thinking about something, it doesn't mean that it won't appear. You know, a lot of people are like, hey, just be positive and sing Kumbaya. I'm like, Kumbaya, right? But I always tell them that I'm a realist. You know, I'm left hand, right hand. So at the same time, Ralph Smart is super positive. At the same time, I'm not stupid. And I know the inorganic ones better than they know themselves. I know that there's a great battle happening on the planet. And we are actually in the midst of it. So a lot more things are going to happen which are really going to rock you off your boat. And if you're someone who's saying, I don't want to know about that, you're going to be in for a rude awakening. So you have to be ready right now for whatever happens, whether it's today, tomorrow, or next week, next month, or next year, because these are the times when you are going to hear of big, big news, right? And this is the reason why one of the best things I did was to learn how to detach from the matrix. You have to right now in this period learn how to be self-sustainable. You don't want to be too dependent on the matrix, because when things shut down, you're going to be stuck. There are people right now all around the world who are living off the grid. They're building earth homes with solar panels, renewable energy, free energy. They're learning how to grow their own fruits and vegetables. This is where we want to be at. Because once you do that, you're going to be fine. One of the things and one of the best ways to prepare yourself for what's coming is to have a community. You see, if you have a community, you're truly strong, deep divers. And this is what the world needs right now. It needs a community. When you have a community, you're supported. So whatever is coming on the planet, you're going to be fine. Infinite Waters is a community. You know, a lot of people have said, deep divers, I found my girlfriend here, I found my wife here, I found my husband here. This is actually like a dating site, deep divers. Infinite Waters is like a dating site. People come here, they meet their future twin flame. Go and ask. So many people say, oh my gosh, I met my twin flame watching your videos, Ralph. Right? It happens like that. Let me shout out to all of you wonderful deep divers. How you feeling? Hit that like button if you support the real. Hit that like button if you support the real. Mark Moley, do you believe that Islam will conquer Europe? I hear that that's their end time prophecy. Islam means peace. I don't believe Islam wants to conquer Europe. Stacy Lace, you're appreciated. Shout out to you, Ralph. I hope I meet you in person one day. You've been a great mentor and inspiration to me for the last decade. Much love and blessings to you. Hey, you're appreciated. S. Silic, shout out to you, Ralph. I have a natural stone bracelet online store. I ship everything from California. Can you check it out? Yes. www. I'm going to put it on the screen, right? Shout out to you. You're appreciated. You're most definitely appreciated. Let me put that one on the screen for you. Stacy Lace, right? So let me put that one on the screen for you. Shout out to all of you wonderful deep divers. Hit that like button, share the video. Shout out to everyone who's here, everyone who's diving deep. So, like I say, deep divers, we're in truly powerful times right now. One of the biggest things to note is that AI is a part of it. The next major global event is about to strike. It's actually already here in the form of artificial intelligence. There's a reason why everything is going electric. You got electric cars, electric everything. And eventually everything is going to be connected to a smart grid, a smart system, a smart city, a 15-minute city. In China, they're so far ahead. And in Japan, they're so far ahead with artificial intelligence. It's spooky. Let me show you this video, deep divers, where you're going to see how lifelike this stuff looks. Look at this. So I've been telling you that human beings are becoming slowly replaced. And what you have to realize is that the more you move into the metaverse is the more you lose who you really are. You see, a big major event that's happening is that they are creating something called a quantum computer. Right? This is huge. You see, a lot of people don't realize what's taking place. Forget about ChatGPT. That's nothing. What this quantum computer is going to do is basically is different from ChatGPT in a way that it's actually calculating things at such an advanced level. You see, the ChatGPT is not artificial intelligence. It's human beings putting in the answers. But this quantum computer stuff is actually thinking like a human being. This is the scary stuff. And you have to realize that it's going to come a time where you're going to have another human, which is not a human, who's going to be indistinguishable from a human being. And this is another next major event that's going to be on the cards, where there's a race right now to transfer someone's consciousness into a computer. This is the race right now between Russia, China, the US. Who can do it first? This is the reason why AI is everywhere. You saw the film Megan, right? This doll who came alive, right? They already have dolls like that in China, in Japan. They got babysitters who are AI. And you have to remind yourself that we're in a very strange time right now, because you see, a lot of people, they prefer their phone over a human being. So you've got to remind yourself of the symbology of the apple. You know, Steve Jobs, let me shout out to Dimensions of Existence. Shout out to you. Hi, Ralph. May you please check out my organization I created, named Project Greenfoot.org. It's about a community base where people can be off grid, 100% plant-based, conserving seeded foods. Please check it out. You'll appreciate it. Absolutely. That's fantastic. And that's what it's always about, deep divers. Right now, it's all about going off grid, finding ways to go off grid, right? Finding ways to really realize you don't want to get too attached to this matrix, because the matrix won't save you. It will enslave you. Let me shout out to Gabby Breenan. You are so appreciated. Thank you so much for that, Gabby. I appreciate that. Have these people not seen Terminator? Thank you, Ralph, for keeping it real. Absolutely, Gabby. Absolutely. Have these people not seen Terminator? Absolutely. They were telling you in the films. James Cameron is now coming out saying, hey, I was warning you about the AI. But see, they were putting it in the scripts of Hollywood. I always tell you that Hollywood are like 50 years ahead of humanity. What they do in a film 50 years ago is what's happening right now. So, for example, films like The Terminator from the 80s, it's a technology they have right now. There was a film called Demolition Man. Now, listen to this. Demolition Man starring Wesley Snipes. They were having Skype calls before you had Skype calls. They were doing video conferencing. I remember watching that saying, that's impossible. How on earth can you talk to someone who's in another country just with a screen? Well, it's here right now. One of the things they showed you in that film was they're monitoring what you were saying. In other words, censorship. Now, that's what happened. Even during the pandemic, you couldn't say COVID without getting a strike on your channel. And in that film, it was like, if you swore, you'll get a fine. You know, it's a great film just showing you where the world is heading. The good news, because like I always say, there are tremendous great things, there are awesome things happening, tremendous things happening, that there's a great split happening between 3D and 5D. I told you. You can choose to be Terminator and say, I'll be back. Or you can choose to be a multi-dimensional being having a human experience. You see, they've told you that the AI is more powerful than you. They lied to you. You are 1 trillion times more powerful than the AI. You know why? Because you can feel. Still, they haven't created AI that can replace human beings in terms of feeling, in terms of depth, in terms of authenticity. That's what you have. And you don't want to trade your humanity for this artificial insanity. You don't want to do that. You want to realize your humanity is the best thing since sliced bread. Your humanity, deep dives, is so powerful, they're trying to replicate it. Right now, someone is in a lab trying to map your DNA. They're trying to say, gosh, how come these human beings are so powerful? And truth be told, human beings are really powerful. It's just that let me pull this comment up. It's just that we're gods in amnesia. A lot of people are gods in amnesia. Let me shout out to all you wonderful deep divers. Hit that like button, deep divers, if you support the real. Julia, you're appreciated. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Thanks for all the education and support you give us. You're so inspirational. Hey, I appreciate that most definitely. Thank you so much. So we've got to remind ourselves that we're so powerful. Every single second you have to be distracted. Every single second you have to be led astray, because the moment you get 5 seconds with yourself, you're going to wake up to the truth that you don't need them. They need you. They need your attention, your ignorance, your greed, your ego. And you have to remind yourself of the traps that lead you to become a prisoner in the matrix. When we talk of things which they've been planning for you, whether it's another pandemic, whether it's more wildfires, look at Hawaii, look at Maui before and after. This is crazy, right? Before and after. I know one thing, deep divers, Mother Nature doesn't do that. Mother Nature doesn't just burn up a whole place for no reason. Something else is happening. And it's up to you to have critical thinking to say, what on earth is going on? You see, Socrates said the unexamined life is not worth living. The unexamined life is not worth living. In other words, if you don't examine life, then it's not worth living. But if you do examine life, then it is worth living. So you have to realize that the unexamined life is not worth living. And so many people are not examining life to ask the big questions. And this is the reason why a lot of people feel their life is meaningless. But if you actually do examine life, it becomes incredibly meaningful. And you begin to crack the Da Vinci Code. That was a slow motion. Slow motion this side. Once again, deep divers, this is not the time to be afraid. There's nothing to be afraid of. We've got to remind ourselves that, have you noticed, deep divers, that it seems there aren't enough hours in the day? That it seems that time is speeding up? We're in the midst of the quickening. This is what the ancients spoke of, that there's going to be a time where everything is going to accelerate. Things are going to move faster, quicker, with more speed. This is the time we're in, and it's being accelerated with technology. Truth be told, time is an illusion. Technology is creating an illusion of things speeding up. Like the internet, one day on the internet can be like 100 years, right? Because so much happens. But if you turn off the internet, you go outside, everything is peaceful. So part of freeing your mind is to disconnect sometimes from technology. Technology is not bad, no. Technology is great. Technology was created for us by us to give us more opportunities. The problem is a lot of people have been worshipping technology. Technology is a beautiful servant. It's a dangerous master. Joe Pianist, you're most definitely appreciated. Thank you so much. 9999. You're most definitely appreciated. Thanks so much, Joe. I appreciate. Deep divers, hit that like button, share the video. We just started. Hit that like button, share the video. Emergency meeting. The next big global event is about to strike. Prepare yourself now. Right? Prepare yourself now, deep divers. Get ready. Because like I say, I know the times we're in. I know, like George Orwell said, if you want a vision of the future, imagine a boot stamping on a human face forever. This is even what George Orwell spoke of in 1984. It's not all doom and gloom. It's just you realizing that two realities are being created. And you've got a choice in which world you live in. Everything right now, tables are being turned. People are getting to see life in a whole different way. Do you have predictions for 2024? Well, we're going to get into that. Selic, we're going to get into that. There was an intelligence guy. I played you the video on the other video, but he was someone who was actually, back in the 80s or 70s, he came out with that video saying that there's going to be an alien agenda. And he was talking about how they want to depopulate the world by 2029. Now, what actually that made me think of is you will owe nothing and be happy by 2030. You see, where did that whole slogan come from? You will owe nothing and be happy. Can't you see that? How will you owe nothing and be happy? You can only owe nothing and be happy if everything around you is destroyed. Can't you see what's going on in California with hurricanes? Can't you see what's happening in Maui, wildfires? The whole world is being destroyed, so you can owe nothing and be happy. So it made me think of that to say, okay, wow, how did he know that about 2029, 2030? And that was decades ago. So we've got to remind ourselves that they're telling you it's hidden in plain sight. And right now you have to realize that you're not powerless, you're powerful. You're so powerful that all you have to do is detach and you can free yourself. Many people say, Ralph, you're like Morpheus from the Matrix. Take the blue pill. You stay in ignorance. Take the red pill. Right? It's because I realized that I was given a gift. And I'm always protected. Because like I told you, it's not human beings that are doing this. They're being influenced to do things. Behind a government, there's a shadow government. Behind a shadow government is a being you can't even see who is governing that. So we're actually in the midst of spiritual warfare. It's not a physical battle. It's not about saying, okay, it's BlackRock and Vanguard, these people. No, it's way bigger than that. We're talking about spiritual warfare. We're talking about entities who have been here from the dawn of human existence. Some people call them the Anunnaki. Some people call them the Greys. Some people call them the Nephilim. Some people call them the Archons. They've been here. And their whole mission is to harvest the energy of human beings. It's not a bad thing. That's what they were sent here to do. And you have to be smart enough to get out of it. Everyone has a job in the universe. Some people are here to raise the frequency. Some people are here to lower the frequency. I told you, in this universe, the 7 Hermetic principles principle of mind, principle of correspondence, cause and effect, polarity. And polarity states that everything is dual. Everything is dual. Don't think everyone wants to be happy on this planet. Some people want to be really destructive. So you have to realize there's two forces in existence, and there always will be. So part of you awakening is to realize that some people are hell-bent on destroying the world. Some people just want to see the world burn. And some people are here to spread the best energy on the planet. Once you are in your true power, nothing can harm you. Nothing can hurt you. You are truly protected. This is the time you want to be on right now. You want to be on the seat of your throne, so nothing can harm you. Nothing can touch you. And shout out to all the chosen ones, because like I said, I'm still here, deep divers, and I'm always going to be here. You want to remind yourself not to get lost in the sauce out here, because a lot of things are happening. You don't want to be with the wrong crowd, the wrong circle, because this is the time where you're going to meet people on demon time. You're going to meet savages, wild beasts who are going to take you out if you're in the wrong circle. That's the reason why you don't want to be saying, hey, I got 1,000 friends. Don't you realize in that group you got 5,000 Judases who are ready to deceive you and betray you? So you have to remind yourself in these days and times, the energy you hang around is the energy that you will ultimately become. We're in a time right now where a lot of people don't know who they are. And if you are around a lot of people who don't know who they are, you're going to go down with them. You can help people who don't know who they are, but you got to help them from a distance. Because if you are just going along with them, you are going to have the same fate as they do. And this is the reason why we're in a time right now where you have to separate yourself from the crowd, from people who are going to take you off your path in the wrong direction. Because you see, a lot of people right now, they're like, hey, let's just turn up. Let's just do this. Let's just do that. Forget about that stuff. And you go along with them. You forget about what you're here to do on the planet. And now you're going to go down with them. But they don't know any better. You do. So we're in a time right now where you have to be strong and assertive. And sometimes it means cutting certain people out of your life. Because we're not in the time where you want to kiss ass and people please. I'm so free. I can be myself everywhere. It's amazing. It's so liberating, deep divers. You know why? Because I don't have to pretend. There are so many people out there who are pretending every single day. Pretending. They can't even be their true selves. And it's sad. Shout out to everyone who's here. Deep divers, hit that like button, share the video. Angelo Pastore, shout out to you. Hello, Mr. Ralph. Have you ever heard of the Gateway Experience? Also, Gematria. If so, what's your thoughts? Thank you. One love. Shout out to you. Absolutely. We have to remind ourselves that numbers, letters govern everything in existence. Everything, there's a code to it. That's why I always tell you, find out the time you were born, the day you were born, the month you were born. It all holds tremendous significance. I was born March 3rd at 3:03. I'm a 33. That's the master teacher. Right? That's Christ consciousness. That means I came here to shake some shit up, deep divers. Right? And it was me knowing when I was born that made me know what I was here to do on the planet. I said, oh, I'm a 33. When they say Jesus died at age 33, they don't mean it in the literal sense. They mean that he ascended the Kundalini energy to Christ consciousness, the anointed one. And that's the reason why you have to remind yourself everything in this reality is about the numbers, the numbers, the numbers. Find out your numbers. Do your natal chart, all of that stuff. So there's a lot of talk about another pandemic on the cards. And you don't have to be afraid of it, because it won't affect you if you're on a higher frequency and a higher vibration. But you do have to be aware of it. Because if you're ignorant to say, hey, let's just sing Kumbaya, you're also going to be in for a rude awakening. You have to know you're dealing with a beast who never sleeps, who always is awake, thinking about how it can harvest your energy. Hit that like button, deep divers, if you support the real. Hit that like button, deep divers, if you support the real. Shout out to everyone who's here, everyone who's diving deep. Everyone who's diving deep. So, deep divers. Cowboy Kenny, shout out to you. I've had this job and a chance to get it back. Do you have to get vaccinated to get it back? Should I get it? Stay true to yourself first and foremost. That's the most important thing. Studio Hate, shout out to you. Hi Ralph, I appreciate your live stream with all the things happening in the world. How does polarity be identical in nature and different in reality? That's a great question, because I spoke about that. I spoke about how with polarity, everything is dual. Opposites are identical in nature, but different in degree. So what do we mean by this? So let's take, for example, the inorganic ones versus Ralph Smart, the inorganic ones versus you, right? Light versus dark. It's all one and the same. It just varies in degree. So for example, as good as you are, on the other side of the spectrum is someone who is as evil. So the same thing that makes you get up in the morning to raise the frequency is the same thing that gets them up in the morning to lower the frequency. It's the exact same energy, the exact same intensity, the exact same acceleration. Don't you know that there are people waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning just to think about another way to scam you, steal from you, keep you a slave? You'll be like, gosh, what's their motivation? It's the same motivation that you have to wake up and do some yoga, go for a run, go to the gym. So you have to realize with this dual nature of reality, people are motivated for different things and different reasons. So not everyone is like you. This is the reason why in these days and times, you need discernment. You have to have the ability to judge things well. You have to realize that not everyone is like me. Not everyone is like you. Not everyone is kind, caring. Some people don't give a shit about anything. So you have to know what you're dealing with. You have to know what you're dealing with. And you have to realize that ultimately, what did I speak of in that video? What law did I speak of? Go and watch that video, Spiritual Laws That Have Been Hidden From You. What's the first law that I spoke of, deep divers? Put it in the chat. What's the first law that I spoke of? Because that's the law that governs everything. And that's why I spoke of that first. Right? What was that first law? Because what was that first law, deep divers? Thank you. Thank you. The law of oneness. Absolutely. The law of oneness. So the reason why I say, and a lot of people always tell you, love is the truth. That's because love is oneness. Everything is connected. Separation is the greatest illusion. So when I tell you that actually the inorganic ones are actually disowned aspects of who you are. The inorganic ones are actually your shadow side. It's the collective shadow of humanity has also created an inorganic humanity. So therefore, it is not separate from us. It is something which we are. Right? So everything you see that's happening externally is also a reflection of what's going on in the minds of billions of people. It's not an abstract thing because everything is connected. So everything happening, whether it's another pandemic, whether it's wildfires in Maui, all of these things, we can overcome it by creating harmony within ourselves, because when you remind yourself, it all starts with us anyway. Reality starts with what's in our minds collectively. And that's why I tell you, the next big global event is about to strike, but it won't affect you if you have raised your frequency and vibration into a state of oneness. It won't affect you if you're on that love frequency. It won't affect you if you're choosing love over everything. It will only affect you if you are separated. It will only affect you if you're living in a state of fear. It will only affect you if you have created your whole life in the matrix. Because all of that is the illusion. So as we move back to oneness, we become protected. As we move back to the truth, ending separation, we enter liberation. That was a slow motion. Deep divers. Right? So like I said, this is not a time to be afraid. You know, you have to be bold enough to realize maybe you're the only one in your family who gets it. How many of you out there are the only one in your family who knows what time it is? How many of you out there are the only one in your family who can see through the illusion, the Maya? Because usually there's only one in every family. There's one chosen one who gets it. You're the odd one out. And growing up, you might feel like it's a curse. Now you realize actually it's the biggest gift, because you're going to be the one helping your family. Right? And they've always labeled you antisocial. They've always said, gosh, just be like everyone else. But you know you came here for a different reason, a different mission. Because you can see through this BS tacky carnival funhouse. And that's because your eye is open. And you have to really realize that's the greatest gift. There are a lot of people who can't see what's happening. They don't know what's coming. And this is the reason why things were able to happen without them knowing about it. I was able to know what was coming. I was warned along. That's why I told you. I already predicted the 2020 pandemic before it even happened. It's on record. It's in the videos. People said, gosh, Ralph, how did you know? You prepared us. It was because I was tapped in. So I can already see exactly what's happening before it happens. And it's because I'm tapped in, I'm tuned in. So you have to remind yourself, you're not only seeing with these two eyes, you're seeing with this third eye, the first eye, and you have to open it as wide as possible. You have to also realize that as you go to sleep, things will be revealed to you. You know, the astral realm, the astral plane is available to all of us when we go to sleep. A lot of things are happening in the astral before they happen in the physical. And a lot of people have been having these dreams of apocalyptic events, all kind of things. And pay attention, because they will unfold in the physical world. But you have been given a warning. So you should count yourself fortunate, blessed, to say, thank gosh, I was aware of what was going to come. We have to remind ourselves right now, we have so much going on. Left, right, center. And this creates an overwhelming feeling in a lot of people. And this is how the inorganic ones control things. It's not only another pandemic you have to worry about. It's another wildfire in Canada, in Australia, in Hawaii. Right? It's another AI humanoid coming to take over your life. So many things are happening simultaneously. And you also have the carnival of the TikTok generation. So you have to remind yourself that it's all a distraction. It's all a distraction. Because the moment you focus on yourself, all of that ceases to exist. So this is how you prepare yourself. You prepare yourself by focusing on yourself as much as possible. Focusing on yourself as much as possible. As soon as you wake up, don't turn on your phone. You know, the phone is actually the new TV. Let me repeat that. They didn't, a lot of people say, I don't watch TV, Ralph. Television tells lies to your vision. I said, don't worry about it. You got a new TV. It's called your iPhone. That's the new TV. See, everything just changes in the matrix. Everything gets replaced. They didn't take away the TV. They just said, these people don't want to watch TV, so let's put it in their iPhone. What the hell do you think the iPhone screen is? It's a TV, deep divers, in your pocket. So you can say, I don't watch TV, but if you're on your iPhone, you do. So I realized that, I had to cut the time I was spending on my iPhone because that's a second TV. If you're up all night watching this thing, you're absorbing all of those frequencies. That's why you need the blue light glasses. People say, Ralph, why do you always wear glasses doing live streams? Because these are blue light glasses. I got the Chrysopravasia, right? See the purple? That's the blue light. That's what you want. If you're on your phone, on the computer a lot, you want the blue light glasses. That's going to give you the protection you need. Shout out to everyone who's diving deep. Hit that like button right now, deep divers, share the video. Hit that like button, deep divers, share the video. I'm reading every single message. Let me know also what's on your mind. Christine Cope, you're appreciated. Much love and light. God blessings. Hey, you're appreciated. You're most definitely appreciated, Christina. Thank you so much. Shout out to all of you wonderful deep divers. So you got to make sure you have the right protection. You got to make sure you got the right protection. One of the best ways to protect yourself right now in these days and times is to remind yourself. So many people right now are getting stuck. And the reason why they're getting stuck is because they're still trying to fit in. Fitting in is a trap. A lot of people who are off grid, they're outcasts, outlaws, fringe dwellers. They don't fit into this society, so it's a lot easier to detach from it. If you're someone who always wants to be liked and wear the Louis Vuitton bag on Instagram, all of these things, it's going to be hard to let that go. So you have to remind yourself that imagine yourself with nothing, but with everything. Because you see, this matrix will have you chasing things which you don't need to impress people that you don't even like. That was a slow motion. I said, this matrix will have you chasing things that you don't need to impress people you don't even like. Right? Slow motion. So you have to be very careful that all of that is a waste of time. Right now, you have to realize that so many people are doing that, they're forgetting about what's coming. They're forgetting about that you have to be aware These people in Maui, their whole homes got destroyed out of the blue. No one saw it coming. That's what I'm telling you. We're in a time where you're not even going to see it coming. It's just going to happen in a flash. You're going to be, what happened? Don't you see what was happening in Greece with the wildfires, in Australia, in Canada, and in Hawaii? You think this is just by an accident? Or just something happening? No, this is happening for a reason. To show you. Pay attention. Wake up. We're in the times of revelations. It's getting biblical out here, deep divers. And we ain't even had breakfast yet. We ain't even had breakfast yet, deep divers, right? We've got to remind ourselves that, you see, not wanting to know about the information is not going to help you. Wanting the information is going to help you. Infinite Waters, Ralph Smart, I'm making videos on so many different topics, but I'm aware of also what's happening out there in the world. I'm not just singing Kumbaya under a tree saying peace, love, and harmony, because I know what the inorganic ones do. And you have to realize that if you're not prepared, you're going to wake up and say, what happened? Not me. I'm going to be ready. And always one step ahead. So you've got to remind yourself that it's not negative to actually inform yourself about what's happening on the planet. In fact, it's truly positive. Some people say, gosh, Ralph, that scares me. It's scary. I don't want to know about this stuff. It's scary. I'm like, look, the world you're living in is pretty effed up. I'm sorry about that. I didn't make it like that, but it's just the way it is, right? So you have to not be scared about these topics. And you also have to realize that it's not something to be afraid of. It's something that can set you free once you know about it. Like a lot of people who do the deep diving, who read books that you don't find on Amazon, secret books, who, go on retreats, all of these things, they're more awake and aware than anybody. But they had to go through the fire to come out of the other side. They had to go through it all to realize there's nothing to be afraid of. But the people who are like, I don't want to know about that. I don't want to think about that. I just want to dream of roses and that and everything to be beautiful. That's called spiritual bypassing. I got to do a video on that. So we've got to remind ourselves that to prepare ourselves, you have to realize you're dealing with a wild hyena. If you're dealing with a wild hyena, you have to meet it where it meets you. If you bow down to it, it's going to rip your head off. So you better stand up. And if you're fearful, it's going to even attack you even more. So you have to have courage. There was actually a video, deep divers, of like a cat. There was like a venomous snake. The cat down the road was putting in his punches, right? The snake just went away. No fear. Even the cat down the road is not afraid, deep divers, right? This is the time we have to be on. We got to be like the cat down the road, right? Because, there's nothing to be afraid of in these times, but there is everything to be aware of. One of the things is that the world, everything is like an experiment. You see, I did the whole review on the film Oppenheimer, the Manhattan Project. What if I told you there are projects happening all around the world in military bases which the public know nothing about? In that film, Christopher Nolan was showing you what happens in New Mexico during the Second World War when they are having these bases no one knows about. They can't even tell their loved ones where they're going. And this same thing is still happening. So what makes you think you know everything under the sun? Don't you realize there are Manhattan Projects, Project Bluebeams, all kind of projects happening that the public don't even have a clue about? So you have to realize all of these films are showing you what's actually going on, that there's so much hidden from society, so much hidden from the masses, because not everyone can get the information. You can only get the information if you're open to it. Shout out to everyone who's here. Hit that like button, deep divers, share the video. Hit that like button, deep divers, share the video. I'm back. V, shout out to you. 5D, not 5G. Normal is a trap. Get weird, get free. I like that. I like that. I definitely like that. That was amazing. Absolutely. 5D, not 5G. Normal is a trap. Get weird, get free. Absolutely. That's also how to prepare yourself. Get as free as you can. Right now is the time to be as free as you can, as liberated as you can. And one of the greatest ways to do this is to remind yourself, people are going to judge you regardless. You might as well be who you are unapologetically. You see, it's so hard. I know a lot of you have a lot of friends who kind of keep a check on you. Sometimes you can't say this around them, you can't say that around them, and they're actually holding you back. You know, a lot of people meet up with people, they can't even express themselves. They're like, oh my gosh, I don't want them to see me in a different way. And you have to have the courage to only be around people who are going to respect and accept your truth. That's a starting point. We've got to remind ourselves, deep divers, that we do have power to change even predetermined outcomes, even destiny, even what was written. We can change all of that by our perception, because perception creates reality. When I said the next big major event is about to strike, it's not just one event. It's many, many different events happening simultaneously. Yes, there's going to be another pandemic. There's going to be more wildfires. There's going to be internet blackouts, all of that. But there's also going to be a new earth. There's going to be new communities. There's going to be people living off grid. There's going to be people who are going to be so empowered and so happy with a wonderful family, waking up with a coconut in their mouth and a bunch of grapes every single day. That's fantastic. So there are many big, massive events happening. And you can choose which event you want to happen. You can choose which event that you want in your life. You can actually choose which event that you want to experience. Do you want to go for another lockdown, deep divers? You can do that. Do you want some more wildfires? You can have that. Or do you want to be raising your frequency? Raising the vibration. You can choose all of this, right? You can choose the reality you wish to live in every single day. This is the beauty of life right now. We get to choose what we experience. We get to choose what we feel. We get to choose what we create. We've got to remind ourselves of how this thing works as well. There's something called perception magic. And perception magic works by, if enough people think about something, it will become a reality in the collective. So something doesn't even have to be real. It just has to be perceived as real. Now it becomes a reality in the collective. So for instance, when COVID came first in 2020, a lot of people were wearing masks. Some other people said, oh, let me wear a mask as well. Before you knew it, there was a perceived threat. But it may not have even affected you. But it didn't matter, because that was the perception which created the reality. And this is the reason why you have to be very careful about what you project into the world and what you perceive the world to be. Because that will ultimately determine and create your own reality. So for me, I've realized that actually the next major event is not going to be COVID for me or any other pandemic or any wildfire. It's going to be the emergence of the greater new earth. And it's going to be fantastic. I'm excited. Now, I also know some people are going to experience another pandemic. Some people are going to experience tremendous things which are really going to shake them inside and out. But it's all about what you want to experience. We have to remind ourselves to put ourselves first and to not accept the narrative they give us. You can tear that up and create your own narrative about what you want this thing to be. But once again, you need to surround yourself with people who are like-minded. There's a reason why birds fly together. There's a reason why birds fly together. Now you have eagles, even they sometimes fly together. There's a reason why you see birds together, because it's strength in numbers. And one thing about the inorganic ones, I always tell you, they always work together. And you have to remind yourself, even they follow universal principles and laws. You see, people who govern this matrix are not individuals. It's families. It's groups of people. So when you have powerful families, whether it's Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, all of these families stick together. So you have to realize that actually you have to also have a family, and you have to stick together, because that's how you become powerful. Nobody is powerful by themselves. You're only powerful when you connect with other like minds. You can be powerful, yes, by yourself, but the greater power emerges through unity, not separation. So this is how to prepare yourself. You don't want to be a lone ranger out here. You're going to be eaten up very quickly. You want to form alliances. You want to say, okay, I know this person in Colombia. I know this person in Romania. I know this person in Spain, this person in the UK, this person in South Africa, Nigeria. You want to have a network of people that you know all around the world. So when shit hits the fan, you can have someone in a certain country you can go to, you can connect with. You don't want to be isolated right now. We're in a time as well, deep divers, where, like I said, things are happening simultaneously. There's a reason why they show you these celebrities, so-called celebrities. And, you know, you have to feel offended by that, deep divers, because you are the real celebrity to begin with. So you have to realize that these celebrities are going to promote the next pandemic. They're going to tell you to get the shot. They're going to, just like what happened in 2020. So you have to realize that actually, who am I supporting right now? This is how to prepare yourself, because if you're supporting these celebrities who aren't doing anything for you, you've only got yourself to blame. A lot of these celebrities in the Matrix are as quiet as a church mouse. And when things get rough, what happens? Roadrunner time.
Meep, meep. Meep, meep. Meep, meep.
Roadrunner time. Right? So you got to remind yourself that stop supporting people who aren't supporting you. That's what I had to learn. Because a lot of people who are in positions of power in the Matrix are only there because they are helping to keep people asleep in the Matrix. Like Kanye West said, if I say anything, I'm going to lose everything. And a lot of celebrities have signed the oath where they can't even say anything. A lot of people in the music industry, a lot of these artists, they've already signed the oath. They can't tell you what they want to, they can't tell you their heart and mind. They got people who actually edit everything they say. You can never get a clear statement from them. And that's the reason why it's not about feeling a certain way to them. You got to feel sorry for them because they can't even speak their heart and mind. A lot of them need your help. A lot of them need your help because they're trying to get out of it. You think they got a great life. They want to get away from it. They're trying to find a way out because they realize it's a trap. So you have to realize that actually you're more free than a so-called celebrity in the Matrix because you can go outside and be great. You don't have 50 cameras following you around, but you do have the cat down the road, deep divers. So the next big global event is about to strike, and prepare yourself, deep divers, for what is coming to the planet, because we are, when you take a look at the Hindu who spoke of the Kali Yuga cycle, when you take a look at the Mayans, when you take a look at the Native Americans who spoke of the Hopi prophecy, that we're in the fourth world, and the reason why the world is, in fact, the Hopis, the Navajo Native Americans said that because the Western world has disrespected Mother Nature, all hell is going to break loose. This is exactly what's happening in the world. Can't you see the Hopi prophecy is playing out? Can't you see that the Hopi prophecy is playing out? 5D, shout out to you, your most appreciated. Giving thanks, mentor. Thank you so much. Gratitude. Hey, you're appreciated. Deep divers, hit that like button, share the video. Hit that like button, share the video. So the Hopi prophecy is playing out. When the earth is ravaged and the animals are dying, a new tribe of people shall come onto the earth. A new group of people shall come onto the earth from many creeds, colors, classes, and whom by their deeds and actions shall make the earth green again. They will be known as the warriors of the rainbow. It's this time, I told you. We're in a time right now where people are connecting with different people all around the world, realizing actually we're all the same. Once again, we're going back to that oneness. And that's the beauty. So we have to remind ourselves, like I told you, everything that's happening, you can always draw the positive from it. What happened even during COVID, all of these things, it forced people to unite. It forced people to realize that we're all we have. And it made people put aside their differences. I told you, you think inorganic ones don't even have a color. The inorganic ones don't even have a nationality. They're so beyond that. So even they follow the law of unity, the law of oneness. People on this planet, sometimes they argue, I'm from Germany, I'm from France, I'm from Barbados, I'm from Ukraine. Humanity is so divided, and that's why it's so weak. Now people are realizing actually, ultimately, we're spiritual beings having a human experience. When you say that, everything else falls by the wayside. This is where we have to get back to for ultimate liberation and raise the frequency. And thank goodness so many people are. So humanity, the good news is that people are now changing how they see the world, changing how they see each other. And once again, all of these things are the catalyst for it. You see, even so-called bad things that happen can actually even show us something good. So that's why I told you, everything goes back to remind us who we are. So we're not in a negative time when you can draw the positives from it and realize humanity has to learn from what's happening because it's happening for a reason. If you don't learn from what's happening, humanity will be condemned to repeat it. We're in a time right now where you have to see the writing on the wall. You have to realize it's not an accident that you're having Maui, hurricanes, pandemics, hurricane coming to California, floods in California. All of these things is happening for a reason. Pay attention. It's showing you that you have to wake up, humanity. It's showing you that you have to wake up, humanity. You have to wake up and you have to get real. That's what it's showing you. Hit that like button, deep divers, share the video. Hit that like button, deep divers, share the video. Shout out to everyone who's here, everyone who's diving deep. So we're in truly powerful times right now. And we've got to remind ourselves. Let me shout out to all the deep divers who are here. Sound Dr. Allen, shout out to you. I write music to help raise your vibrations, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern every Sunday night, and 6 p.m., 9 p.m. every Tuesday evening on YouTube at Sound Dr. Allen. Remove the fear through positive vibrations in music. Absolutely. That's what's up. That's amazing. And that's what we have to do. You know, right now, we have to heal ourselves as much as possible. We have to heal ourselves as much as possible. You see, there's a reason why a lot of people are sick right now on the planet. A lot of people are ill right now. A lot of people have psychosomatic illnesses. A lot of people are consumed by greed, ego, superficiality. It's because humanity is strayed away from who it really is. Look at people's profiles. You see, when you see someone's profile, it should tell you about who they really are. Some people, they put on their profile like, okay, anything random. So it's like people have lowered themselves to something which is not even important. So people will talk about everything except for who they really are. This shows you how dumbed down humanity has become. People on TikTok, you know, I'm on TikTok deep dive, and sometimes I browse on there. I say, okay, it's funny that TikTok, everyone is doing something to be someone else than who they actually are. I said, we got a big problem. People are like changing their voice, doing this, doing that. They don't even know who the hell they are. And once they do, they're going to be in for a rude awakening. They're trying to get away from who they are, you know, thinking everything is cool. And one day they're going to have to wake up and face themselves. And it's going to be a hard conversation. It's going to be a long conversation. It's going to be a long night. So, you know, humanity, a lot of human beings love to fool themselves. Because once again, they believed ignorance was bliss. This was the program on the planet for so long. Ignorance is bliss. Ignorance is bliss. But you see, now people are realizing ignorance is expensive pain. When you're ignorant, it's going to cost you. It's going to cost you a whole lot. Ignorance is expensive pain. I had to learn that. I don't want to be ignorant anymore. I was ignorant for a long time. Cost me a whole lot. Right? Ignorance is going to cost you. Just think about it, deep divers. Every time you've been ignorant, you've lost a whole lot. It's expensive pain. But once you have that wisdom, everything is going to be beautiful. You're going to save yourself a whole lot of hassle. So a lot of people right now are realizing that actually it's going to catch up with you. It's going to catch up with you. You know, people are learning fast lessons right now. That's the reason why people are changing just like that. Real quick. Because they're saying, you know what? And that's the good news. We're in a time right now, deep divers, where people can just change in a few seconds. In a few seconds, this person goes from that path to this path, which is more elevating, because now they find out who they really are. So we're in this time right now. Let me shout out to Juelia. You are appreciated. Much love. Thank you so much for that. So we're in a time right now where the conversation is changing. Have you noticed, deep divers, that people now want to dive deep? They want to talk about what's happening. Why? It was because of COVID. COVID made it possible for that to happen. That's why I told you. Even COVID, what did that mean? Creating our vision in detail. That's what COVID means. But it also means that the more bad things that happen, the more humanity is going to be forced to have that conversation to what's going on. Can't you see that all of these things are happening to help you wake up to who you really are? If you do, they would no longer need to happen. It's just that these things can only happen to make people start talking about what matters. To remind people that actually, hey, unity matters. Love matters. Compassion matters. All of these things are happening because people didn't want to know about anything else. These are symptoms. You see, all of the things you see happening in the world are nothing more than symptoms of a far greater problem. The great Krishnamurti said, "It is no measure of health to be well adjusted to a profoundly sick society." Let me repeat that. It is no measure of health to be well adjusted to a profoundly sick society. A lot of people think they're healthy because they fit into this society. That's no measure of health. Right? So you got to remind yourself that you're not healthy just because you fit in and you get along. In actuality, you're actually insane. You're just coping. And a lot of people are just coping in this matrix. People say, I'm fine. What does fine stand for? Fearful, insecure, neurotic, and emotional. They're telling you. Go and ask someone right now in the streets, how are you? They're going to tell you, I'm fine. That's fearful, insecure, neurotic, and emotional. How can they be fine when they're smoking 40 cigarettes a day? People are forced to take drugs and all of these things because of the stress. Nobody's fine. People are coping. Some people are drinking vodka, this, that. It's to cope. They're doing it to cope with the system. So people want to be out of it. They don't want to think. Say, oh, let's have some shots. Because it's always at the back of their mind that something isn't right, but they need something that's going to help them forget. Sometimes you might distract yourself with some entertainment, watch a movie, drink some alcohol, smoke, whatever. But eventually you're going to have to wake up, face reality. And humanity has been running away from that for a long time. The chickens are coming home to roost. Now humanity has to face itself. There's no running. There's no hiding. And now it's the final end game. And the good news is that all of these things which are happening in the world are forcing humanity to wake up. Because when COVID happened in 2020, you had to really say, like, what's going on, right? That was a good thing. That's now leading to a conversation. What do you think about this? In other words, we're seeing who people are. This is the reason why it's such a great time to be alive. Because everything is being revealed. Everything, people's true colors are showing. Let me shout out to Rocky MTN 100. You're most definitely appreciated. Thank you so much for that. People's true colors are being shown. Like I told you, they created something where you can say, I'm vaccinated, I'm not vaccinated. This was a sign of the split that was happening. That's a good thing because it's showing you where people stand. Some people believe it, some people don't. That's fantastic. You know what people are right now. We're in a time right now where transparency is key. I call it the age of transparency. You're going to start to see people for who they really are. You're going to see their fears, their insecurities. And with the next major global event, you're going to see even more. You haven't seen anything yet. You're going to see it even more. You're going to see who people really are. And this is the reason why, because when people are afraid, they show who they really are. When people are fearful, you see their true colors. Right? And we're in these times right now. You're going to see the lions from the sheep. You're going to see the lions from the sheep. It's going to be a clear distinction. You're going to know you're going to know who everyone is based on the choices they've made, based on what they represent, what they're standing up for. So this is a great time to be alive because everything is being revealed. Remind yourself we're in the apocalypse, which means a lifting of the veil. So the veil is being lifted. All of these things are helping the apocalypse, whether it's COVID, whether it's wildfires, whatever. It's a good thing. The reason why is because it's showing us where people stand. You've got to remind yourself. People in Maui, people in Ukraine got billions of dollars from the US. What about Maui, which is part of the US? I didn't see the same kind of financial aid there. What's going on? So these things happen to show you what's going on, right? So we have to remind ourselves everything is happening for a reason. Everything is happening for a reason. Hit that like button, deep divers, share the video. Hit that like button, deep divers, share the video. Oh, we came here to raise the frequency, deep divers. We came here to raise the frequency. So let me shout out to Bullseye 1423. You're appreciated. Do you watch or have you heard of Morg on YouTube? No, I haven't. You got to tell me about that. You got to tell me about it. You know, I'm subscribed to a lot of people on YouTube, actually. You know, probably over, a good couple of hundred people. But I know that a lot of people who I watched, a lot of people have kind of stopped making YouTube videos. But I'm still here, deep divers, for the deep divers who are diving deep. Prepare yourself, deep divers, emotionally for what's coming. Prepare yourself emotionally for what's coming. One of the greatest ways to do things is to realize that not everyone is going to like you. Not everyone's going to accept you. Not everyone's going to love you. And that's okay. Nothing is personal. People are seeing this based on the conditioning and program they've received since they were children. So you have to have a thick skin. This is how to prepare yourself for what's coming. I told you. There's a split happening between families all around the world. Let me repeat that. There's a split happening between families all around the world. There are families who are literally going through so much. And the reason why is because there's a separation. Have you noticed that, deep divers? Maybe in your own family you experience it. Anthony himself, shout out to you. Thank you, Ralph. Thank you, Anthony. Thank you to you, Ralph. I'm saying no to another lockdown. Hey, Anthony himself, shout out to you. Let me give you a round of applause for that. Absolutely. You can always say no. And this is the one thing we have to remind ourselves, how to prepare ourselves for whatever for whatever comes. You can always say no. You can always say no. No is your greatest power. When we talk about what's coming, if you don't want another pandemic, just say no to that. If you don't want another wildfire, just say no to that. If you don't want another hurricane in California, just say no to that. If you don't want AI to take over, just say no to that. You can always say no, because your silence is still consent. You know, a lot of people say, I'm just going to mind my own business. No, we're in a world where you can't mind your own business. You have to be about your business, and you have to stand up for something. If you don't, you'll fall for everything. So we're in a time right now where you can't just say, you know what, I'm going to be quiet and so no one bothers me. No. You're going to remind yourself, if you're quiet, you're going to go down with a sinking ship. You have to say no. You have to open your mouth and say no. That's how you're actually going to get freed. So we often think that, and that was a lesson with 2020. A lot of people thought that if I just, something called Stockholm Syndrome, right? Stockholm Syndrome is where the people who are taken as hostage, they thought that, hey, if I just befriend my captors and all of these people, they're gonna be nice to me, right? And that's what Stockholm Syndrome is, right? And you have to realize this happens all the time. People, they get Stockholm Syndrome. And you have to realize, if you ever get Stockholm Syndrome with a lion or a tiger or a hyena, you're not going to get out of there alive, because it's not going to help you. You got to, right? So you have to realize that actually, when someone is bullying you, you don't say, oh, thank you so much. No, how the bully stops is that you have to say no. They get scared. They now stop. If you're like, I'm going to be quiet, you're going to get bullied even more. So you have to realize that, don't think that you can just mind your business and be cool, because it's going to affect you. The ones who are going to be liberated are the ones who have a big mouth and say no. So the sheeps who don't talk get sent to the slaughterhouse. The sheeps who don't speak and stand up for themselves get sent to the slaughterhouse. The wolves don't. See, that's the difference. The wolves don't get sent to the slaughterhouse. The sheeps do. So you can choose to be a wolf, or you can choose to be a sheep and get sent to the slaughterhouse. We're in phenomenal times of change right now. One of the things we have to do and remind ourselves of is, I spoke about the law of energy. And the law of energy is all about how everything is energy. And we have to remind ourselves that with everything about to happen, we can influence that based on how we're thinking and the energy we're putting out there. I'm putting an energy of pure positivity. I was about to say negativity. Pure positivity out there, right? And negativity, balance, both, right? Both energies. But I'm putting an energy of good energy out there. Upliftment. And this is the world I've created with infinite waters. Just imagine everyone does that. It's going to create like ripples. And this is how we actually create the world we want. We don't create the world we want by being passive. We create the world we want by being active. And you have to be active. You have to set your imprint on everything around you. There's that quote, right? You have to lay your imprint on everything around you. And that's what we have to do right now. And that's the reason why I get up. I make these videos. I talk. Charvin, shout out to you. You're most definitely appreciated. 333. The higher we vibrate, the faster Babylon will fall. One love to you, Ralph, and all the deep divers. Keep spreading that love and energy. That's what the world needs. Reaching out from Barbados is living proof that your vibes reach all corners of Earth. Peace. Hey! Slow motion this side. That's fantastic. That's why I told you. There's people in Barbados, Jamaica, Sierra Leone, Nigeria, Brazil, Spain, Germany, Finland, Estonia, Greece, anywhere you can think of. People are waking up, and that's the good news. You see, we've got to remind ourselves it's way bigger than me. I'm just a messenger. I'm just a vessel, but it's way, way bigger than me. And you have to realize that right now, it's time for you to be the superhero. It's time for you to be the superhero. You know, there are so many people right now who are really working every single day. I told you, the inorganic ones never take a day off. And also the chosen ones never take a day off. That's slow motion, right? There are chosen ones who never take a day off. They're always helping humanity, raising the frequency, and they are creating tremendous change. So we've got to remind ourselves what we're doing is not in vain. We're helping people. We're changing the whole fabric of reality. Do you know that if you make a video, if you write an article, even if 100 people watch it, they can tell another 100 people who can tell another 100 people. It's a domino effect. Eventually, 1,000 people will know about your message. So you have to realize that it takes one candle to light 1,000. And this is how to prepare yourself. Spread the word, spread the good message, and realize everything you do matters more than you can ever imagine. Some people say, I'm just one person, Ralph. No, you actually matter so much. It's unbelievable. And like Marianne Williamson said, your greatest fear is not that you're inadequate. Your greatest fear is that you're powerful beyond measure. You know this. Now it's time for you to start stepping into that power, because the next major global event is about to strike. The next big one. And you've heard talk of another pandemic. You've heard talk of a lot of these things, and it's going to happen. But like I told you, there are different realities happening simultaneously. You can choose which one you live in based on your frequency. If you're in fear, the pandemic is going to be one for you. If you're in a love frequency, the new earth is going to be one for you. So things are happening simultaneously. At the same time, the good and the bad are all happening at once. We've got to remind ourselves that you're going to have a thick skin. You might have to disappoint people that are close to you. Do you know how many people were pressurized into taking all kind of things? From their family, from their friends. And they said, I'm just doing it for them. Now they regret it. You see, let that be a lesson. You're not here to please other people. If you try and please people, you'll always end up hurting yourself. So you have to remind yourself to prepare yourself for the next big major event that's about to strike. Stop people pleasing. Stop trying to make everyone happy, because if you do, you're going to be the most miserable person on earth. This is not the time to start kissing ass. This is the time to realize there's levels to this shit. You're on a different level, so you got to start acting accordingly. Some people don't know anything, so they're going to give you bad advice. They're acting out of fear, projecting onto you. We're in a time right now, deep divers, where there are many different scenarios playing out. There is another potential pandemic, right? And we overcome that when we let go of fear. There is also wildfires where you live. Don't think that it may not catch on fire. And no one would have thought it would have happened in Maui. People don't even know how it started, right? Raise your frequency. There is also UFOs, aliens in Congress. This talk about it. And this is part of the alien agenda. David Grush, right here, whistleblower. So many things are happening simultaneously. You've got to remind yourself that it could be all of them at the same time. They don't bring things in for no reason. This whole talk of UFOs and aliens is because they're getting ready for a fake alien invasion. Project Bluebeam. Project Bluebeam. So you've got to remind yourself, yes, aliens exist because we're not the only intelligent life form in this universe. Are we even intelligent? Never mind. Right? Life is everywhere. But a lot of people are using this to create more power for themselves. So if I tell you, hey, there are these evil ETs out to get you, you're going to say, okay, let me stay in lockdown. Let me stay indoors while they take all of the resources. And you have to remind yourself right now, there is a force on the planet that wants to depopulate the whole planet. Because they say there's too many people on the planet. When in actuality, nothing could be further from the truth. The whole of this planet, 8 billion people, can fit inside of Texas. There's so much land on this planet, it's unbelievable. Everybody can live like a king or a queen. You've been told there's not enough to go around. The problem is that with globalization, urbanization, everybody is living in a very tight space in a city. And this is always a reason to learn how to go off the grid, to say, okay, let me find a plot of land in Barbados. We just had someone from Barbados right there. Jamaica, right? Africa. Let me find. There are so many places on this planet which are empty. And I've been looking into a lot of places myself, you know. And there are amazing places on this planet, which I was even in California one time. There was a guy who was building earth homes in Nevada. Amazing. Emerald cities, right? So there are people all around the world who are creating more sustainable ways to live on the planet. And that's a good thing. That's what we have to get back to. You know, there's this whole talk of this green agenda. Now, you've got to remind yourself, let me shout out to Deep Divers. Hit that like button. Hit that like button if you support the real. Bryson and family and friends, you're most definitely appreciated. Bryson and family and friends, thank you so much for that. So there is this whole green agenda. And you've got to remind yourself that, first and foremost, do your own research. What I will tell you from my own research is that we don't need to be afraid of what we're polluting, the pollution, simply because nature is an alchemist. It's not Mother Nature that's going to be affected, it's us. But you've heard of climate change and all of these things. And you have to remind yourself that people are using this as well as a way to control things. Because if I tell you that you need an electric car, do you know that more resources are used to create an electric car than a normal one? A lot of people don't know this. So a lot of people don't even realize electric cars are actually more dangerous for the environment. Right? So don't think electric is all good. It's actually taking more resources from the planet. But they're not going to tell you that. They got young children mining all over Africa for these metals that they're using in the Tesla cars, all of these things. So it's not as green as you think. But what the electric agenda is all about is that if everything is electric, everything can be monitored and you can be under surveillance 24/7. Every electric car can be traced, can be tracked, can even be remotely controlled. So it's like, let's just say someone is on the run with an electric car. You can actually hack in the car and stop the car automatically. There's a reason why cash is disappearing. All over the world, in every single country, cash is being replaced with a digital card, with a contactless card, right? So we're moving into a cashless society. Some people say, oh, that's great, Ralph, I don't have to carry cash. What you don't realize is that now you can go to the supermarket, they can say, sorry, you can't buy that. So you can get locked out of your own account just because someone says. In other words, eventually that will lead to a social credit score. See, a lot of people don't realize where it heads. Let's just say you've been a bad citizen. Your contactless card won't work. How are you going to eat? How are you going to feed your family? So you have to remind yourself that in China, they have a social credit score. That's what's coming to the West already. It's already here. So you have to realize to do that, you can't have cash. Everything has to be digital. So basically, if you want to travel, your passport ain't going to work with a chip. You're going to be like, work, the doors aren't going to open. So you have to realize that while it seems like it's a good idea, there's no cash and all of these things, actually, you're being controlled. So it's the same thing in the future. Everything about you will be known. Even your dreams will be recorded. This is what they told you in Agenda 2030. Even your dreams will be recorded. So the question is, what freedom will you have? And this is the reason why you have to hold on to your freedom as much as possible. Because you see, every next major global event is going to lead to more and more of your freedom being taken away. The inorganic ones are going to go harder than you've ever seen. I'm telling you. You're going to think, oh my gosh, 2020 was a walk in the park with what's coming down the pipeline. Because it's no mercy. It's no mercy with the inorganic ones. They're not going to show humanity any mercy at all. So you have to remind yourself that you have to transcend that. You got to be on a frequency so high that you become more powerful. Negativity can only affect you when you're vibrating at the same frequency. That's why you got to rise above fear. There's nothing to be afraid of. You got to take that sledgehammer and overcome the fear. But like I said, be on the lookout. Don't just think everything is sweet, because they are planning something, the inorganic ones, and it's going to be a lot bigger than COVID. So you have to be thinking of ways how to detach from the matrix, how to be self-sustainable, grow your own fruits and vegetables, how to not live in fear, how to find your own community, how to choose love over everything, deep divers, right? We're in powerful times, deep divers, truly powerful, powerful times. Like I said, this picture of this man sums up the times we're in right now. Look at the facial expression on this man's face. In Maui, he lost everything. All he could do was sit down and say, you know what? Whatever. That was a very powerful picture which shows what's going on there. And that's also going to happen where you are. You better pay attention. Don't think, oh, it's only happening in Maui. It's only happening in Canada. It's going to come somewhere near you. So you have to remind yourself that these are the signs of the times. And you got to protect your energy. Keep one eye open like a crocodile. Deep divers. And you got to raise the frequency. You got to raise the frequency. You have to raise the frequency. You know, congratulations to everybody. Let me say a big thank you to Eternal Abundance. Wow, you're most definitely appreciated. Most definitely appreciated. Eternal Abundance, thank you so much. I definitely appreciate that. How can we constantly focus on what we want to see in our lives and think what we want in reality with all these distractions? That's a great question. That's a fantastic question. Once again, how can we constantly focus on what we want to see in our lives and think what we want in reality with all of these distractions? You know, first and foremost, you've got to realize that reality is nothing more than what you focus on consistently. That's number one. Reality is what you focus on most often. Who has your mind? That's the question. You've got to remind yourself nature is the best place to really ground yourself. You have to be grounded. To focus on what you want to see in your life, you have to be grounded. Go and hug a tree. Turn off your iPhone. Hug a tree. Get outside, get some fresh air. Breathe in that good ass prana, baby. Woo! Breathe in that good ass prana. You have to realize that you got to act like it's already here. You got to visualize yourself already there. You got to feel like it's already happened for you. You got to feel yourself already protected. You got to feel everything aligning for you. You have to remind yourself that the reason why people are distracted out here is because people don't want to be alone. How many times, deep divers, have you watched something you're like, I don't want to be alone right now. I need some company. And misery loves company. You have to learn to be alone. We are never alone unless we abandon ourselves. So we can never actually be alone in essence. But this is how we constantly focus on what we want to see in our lives and think about what we want in reality. You have to enjoy your own company. A lot of people don't enjoy their own company. That's the reason why they want to be entertained all the time. They want distractions. They can't stand themselves. They want someone else to take away what they're going through inside. But how you really constantly focus on what you want to see in your life and think what you want into reality, you have to occupy yourself. You got to be grounded. You got to be present with yourself. You got to master your emotions. You got to go into the wilderness for 40 days, 40 nights without even breakfast. Oh my gosh, deep divers. You got to know who you are and what you want. You see, a lot of people, they're so busy trying to flex on the gram. They don't even know what they want because you spend all of that time flexing, but it's not really what you want. So you have to focus on what is it I want? What is my mission statement? What is it I came here to do on the planet? You got to think like, hey, I got to wake up with an agenda. Buddha said the trouble is you think you've got time. A lot of people think they got time. You don't have time. You got to do it right now. And you have to do things like this. Every single day, you've got to remind yourself this moment will never come again. You have to remind yourself that, hey, if I had started 5 years ago, just imagine where I would be right now. If I had started Eternal Abundance 5 years ago, just imagine where I would be right now. A lot of people said, Ralph, I want to learn this, I want to learn that. If you had learned like Spanish, Cantonese, Mandarin, whatever language you want, 5 years ago, you might be fluent right now, right? But you read the book, you're like, oh, that's boring. Just imagine if you started right now, where you would be in the next 2 weeks. Just imagine if you started right now, where you would be in the next 5 years. If you start with consistency. See, I always tell you, there's a law of consistency. And when we talk of creating our own reality, we must be consistent. There's a reason why I'm making videos. It's not because someone is forcing me to do it. It's because I love to do it. This creates consistency. See, love creates consistency. When you do something you don't love, you can never be consistent. That's the reason why some people, they start making videos and they stop. They start doing something, then they stop because their heart wasn't in it. Their heart wasn't in it to begin with. If you do what you love, you can always show up every single day with a smile on your face. It's a privilege. I love what I'm doing. That's why I'll be here tomorrow, the day after that, and for eternity. This is how to think about what we want into reality. This is how we constantly focus on what we want in our This is how we constantly focus on what we want to see in our lives with love, because that creates consistency, which creates momentum. Whatever you focus on expands. Whatever you focus on grows. You turn into what you're tuning into. So you must remind yourself, it's not just about focusing on what you want to see in your life. It's about loving what you want to see in your life. Let's drop a bomb for that. It's not about focusing on what you want to see in your life. It's about loving what you want to see in your life. Loving what you do. When you love what you do, the universe will take care of you. It's very simple and it's very true. And it works for everyone. Eternal abundance, even you. What a great question. Deep divers, we're raising the frequency. How you feeling? Hit that like button right now if you support The Real. Hit that like button right now, deep divers, if you support The Real. We're live. If you've got a question, a message, let me know about it. What's on your mind? So the next big major event is about to strike. Prepare now, prepare now, prepare now. A lot of people, they invest so much into what is soon going to be extinct. And that's what happened in 2020. When the whole world shut down, they were stuck, they were screwed. People in the cities who had businesses, they all shut down. If you are someone who has a business in a city, be very careful. Because when another pandemic happens, they're going to shut down your business and keep you dependent on the state. So you don't want to put all of your eggs in one basket. This is how you prepare for what's coming. Don't put all of your eggs in one basket. Don't say, hey, my job is going to take care of me. Find other ways to support your family financially. Have an online business. Do something online as well. Because you see, everything in the physical cities are going to be affected by the next COVID pandemic. The whole city is going to be shut down. Because even in Hawaii, the governor went there saying, gosh, what are we going to do with Maui? And they're saying, we're going to turn that into a memorial, or maybe we might even create a smart city. Who knows? Who knows what they're going to do with that land? So you got to remind yourself that they can wipe away everything to create what they want. So you have to be very careful about putting all of your eggs in one basket, because your business in the city, even your work in the city, if they lock down the city, it's going to affect you. But if you're online, if you're in other places, it's not going to affect you. And this is also a benefit of the internet. A lot of people can create an online business. There's tremendous opportunity online, and that's where you also want to be heading to. Because you have to remind yourself, deep divers, everything happens in a pattern, a sequence and a cycle. And 2020 was just a little test, just a warm up, just to see how people react. Stanley Milgram has the obedience experiment. Go and research it. And it's about prisoners and guards, right? It's a conformity experiment. And it shows you how people conform. Very, very fascinating. You have to study the Stanley Milgram obedience conformity experiment. It's the same thing that happened in 2020. Bystander effect. So you have to realize that something else could happen, and you're going to see how people are going to conform. People you know, they're just going to go along with anything. Simon says do this, I'll do this. Simon says do that, I'll do that. You're going to see how people are going to follow just like that. And this is the reason why you have to not do what Simon says, because you're part of an experiment. We're in powerful times, deep divers. Ultimately, we are here to raise our frequency. Ultimately, we are here to raise our vibration. And shout out to everyone who is really raising their frequency right about now. Shout out to everyone. Shout out to everyone who's raising their vibration, because right now, that's what we need to do as much as possible. Take into consideration, deep divers, that the good news is that so many people who are fast asleep are now awake, starting to wake up. The sleeping giant is starting to wake up. We must always focus on that. Instead of focusing on the doom and gloom, focus on just how many people are starting to wake up. That in itself is inspirational. So I can only see great things happening. I can only see great things happening because that's the energy I'm projecting into the universe. That's my reality. So you have to choose what your reality is going to be. There are different realities that are going to happen simultaneously, depending on where you are vibrationally. So you choose based on your own vibration right now. No fear, only love. Hit that like button, deep divers, share the video. Hit that like button, deep divers, share the video. Let's raise the frequency. I didn't play the intro song. We can play it now. Let's raise the frequency. Let me shout out to everyone who's here first and foremost. Oh, deep divers, I'm back. Back on the live stream. Let me shout out to Donna in SC. You're most definitely appreciated. Thank you so much. What are those gold seals around you? Just curious. Oh, these, the gold heads of Medusa. You know, this beautiful, beautiful symbol. You know, a lot of people always ask me this. They're like, Ralph, the gold room, what are those heads of Medusa? Why do you have heads of Medusa hanging up on the wall? This is actually a symbol to ward off bad energy. So it promotes good energy. You know, Medusa in Greek mythology was once one of the most beautiful goddesses. There's a whole story of it, right? I'll do a video on it one time. But the story a lot of people know is that, you know, when you stare at Medusa, you turn into stone, right? So Medusa in Greek mythology was actually, you know, Jason and the Argonauts and all of these people, they would hold the head of Medusa to their enemies and they would turn into stone. So, you know, we have the head of Medusa just as an amulet of protection. It's a great symbol, you know, great, great symbol. But, you know, I love Greek mythology. And I gotta, you know, I said, wow, I want to change this whole room up for deep divers. But that's the thing that shows you, you know, some people, you see the power. There's so much power in mythology, whether it's Egyptian mythology, Kemetic mythology, Greek mythology, Sumerian mythology, because These are actually stories which were once realities. And a lot of people have their room just anyway. You know, they just put a poster. It doesn't mean anything. Anytime I put this up, people say, what the hell is that behind you? That's a good thing, because it shows it's got power just like that, right? So, you know, I love Greek mythology. So much power. Shout out to everyone. Hit that like button, Deep Divers, if you support the real. Hit that like button. Let me shout out to Bryson and family and friends. Thank you so much, Bryson. I have my children's book called I Love Myself Too Much to Be Bullied by You on Amazon. Fantastic. Deep Divers, go and check out Bryson and family and friends. Has a children's book called I Love Myself Too Much to Be Bullied by You on Amazon. That's fantastic. And that's really what the children need. You know, that's definitely what the children need, because a lot of bullying starts from the younger ages. You know, so that's amazing. And that's so powerful to see that people are writing their own books. You see, people always ask me, they're like, Ralph, how did you manage to get your book published? It was self-published. And it became a #1 best-selling book, Feel Alive by Ralph Smart on Amazon, right? So I was able to do it because I believed in myself. And you have to remind yourself, right now, you can write a book, you can get it on Amazon. Anybody can. So why don't you set that challenge for yourself to say, you know, I want to write a book right now. I want to get it on Amazon. Even an audio book, get it on Audible. You can do it. This is the great time we're in right now. Anybody can manifest what they want, what they choose, what they desire. And we have to remind ourselves that this is another global major event that's happening. That people for the first times are remembering, which means putting themselves back together, who they really are. We're in phenomenal times. I'm excited. You also have to remind yourself that you got chances, but you only have so many chances before it's too late. And if you are someone right now who you know you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, be very careful. Because some people don't get a second chance. Some people get a lot of chances. Some people only get one. And you have to remind yourself that your friends might be spared. You may not be. So this is not the time to fool around in a life that you know is low vibrational. You're going to get caught up. If you're moving wrong, moving with the wrong energy, you're gonna get caught up. That's why I always tell you, I was able to manifest because I just moved in silence. Right? And that's how you go far in life. You don't want to be hanging out with everyone on the block in the neighborhood, because that's how you're going to get caught up with the wrong energy. There's a lot of hyenas out there, a lot of wolves out there. You have to be focused on where you need to go, not entertaining bad energy, bad vibes. And that means be on your mission. Don't have time to hang out with the wrong people, because those are the same people who are going to double cross you and set you up. It's going to be ugly. I've seen it. I've seen it happen to people. And that's the reason why you have to be very selective with who you hang around. You gotta scan your circle to say, wait a second, because not everyone can go. Not everyone is even worthy to be in your presence. $11.11. Coming in on the 11/11, let me shout out to David Tomes. You're most definitely appreciated. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I am at rock bottom right now. I am at rock bottom right now and need some help. Always remind yourself, David, when you're at rock bottom, it's okay. It only means you can only go up from now. It only means you can only go up from now. We can all hit rock bottom. I've been there. But universe said, Ralph, you can only go up from here. There's nowhere else to go. You can't go any down any lower. You're already on rock bottom. So there's only something to look forward to. But in this time, don't hate yourself. That's the one thing. Don't hate yourself. When you're in a state of rock bottom, David, don't hate yourself for being there. Because we blame ourselves. You see, the people who are often able to get out of a rock bottom situation are the people who don't blame themselves too much. They don't beat themselves up. You got to be very kind to yourself. You got to be mentally kind to yourself. Like me, I've made some big mistakes. But the reason how I've been able to get out of that rock bottom situation is that I say, okay, I'm still going to hug myself. I'm not going to completely obliterate myself and trash talk myself, because that's not going to help the situation. So you have to, whenever you feel at rock bottom, you don't want to turn on yourself. You want to give yourself as much love, appreciation as possible. Because if you make yourself your own enemy, you've got no chance. Because the world has already been an enemy to you. If you're an enemy to yourself, it's going to be ugly. So you have to become your best friend, David. Rain, shout out to you. Is it possible to create a Merkaba in a low vibrational environment? Absolutely. You can always protect your energy, no matter where you are. It's just a lot harder to do, obviously, when you're in a low frequency and a low vibration. You don't want to give yourself that challenge unless you have to. And some people, that's the only choice they have. That's how they actually get stronger. But like I said, the old paradigm is that you have to suffer. The new paradigm is where you don't. You can see other people suffering and get wise from that. We're in a time right now where we don't have to place ourselves in a low vibration to become strong. We can become strong in a beautiful environment. You know, you've heard the expression that, hey, you need suffering to wake up. You need suffering to be strong. That's all an old mind. That's all an old way of thinking. Now people have gone through so much. They only want to experience a good environment. They're going to appreciate it. They're going to appreciate it. They don't need any more suffering. They've already been through the grinder. Now it's all about living their best life, good energy, because they've learned the hard lessons back in the day. Now they're ready to move forward with their life. And that's where we all have to be right now. We don't have to suffer again to learn. We've already learned. We're going to appreciate the good times. We're going to hit that like button, deep dives, if you're ready to appreciate the good times. Hit that like button right now if you're ready to appreciate the good times. Right? So we've got to remind ourselves, deep divers, the next major big global event is about to strike. The good news is that if you are prepared, nothing is going to touch you. Nothing will affect you. There's a story about people who had their ears like this. They didn't want to listen to the warning. And a lot of these people who are like this, when they go like that, they're going to say, why didn't anybody tell me? Why didn't anybody warn me? The same thing that happened in 2020, you had people who were telling people about what was going to come. If you were able to listen to them, you would have known what was happening. It's the same thing I'm telling you right now. Some people are going to listen. Some people are going to say whatever, and that's fine. And some people are going to do this and completely not hear anything. When it happens, when shit hits the fan, don't say you weren't warned. So in life, there's always a warning. This is a universal law. When there were earthquakes in Turkey and Syria, there was a warning. It didn't just happen out of the blue. Birds started to fly all over the place. I did the whole video on that. Birds were flying like in the nighttime. There were videos recorded. There was a warning. The animals knew before it even happened. They already knew what time it was. Animals always know before humans. They're smarter, right? Cat down the road is smarter. How come animals never get affected by these things? They already know what's coming. They're tapped in. So you got to remind yourself there's always a warning before anything happens. And it's up to us to take heed to the warning, to be prepared for what's coming, because it's coming. Now you can delude yourself, have delusions of grandeur, and think everything is just going to be kumbaya. But you have to be aware of the times we're in. We're not in the times of peace on the planet. We're in a time of great war for a lot of people. And humanity is at war with itself. Let me shout out to everybody. Deep divers, hit that like button right now if you support the real. Hit that like button if you support the real. Shout out to everyone who's here, everyone who's diving deep. Wang Peng, shout out to you. You're most definitely appreciated. Is it possible to keep having high vibrations while still working a regular 9 to 5? Great question. Absolutely. You can have high vibrations working a regular 9 to 5 if you love it. If it makes you happy. There are a lot of people who love their 9 to 5. Fantastic. Congratulations. Some people, it's their dream job. So there's nothing wrong with a 9 to 5. I always tell people, if you're working a 9 to 5 and you're happy, fantastic. That's the best place to be. That's amazing. It's about your attitude towards what you're doing. The fact of the matter is, most people, they complain about their 9 to 5 job. So it's very hard to have a high vibration if you're complaining. The reason why is because complaining is an absence of gratitude. Complaining is the opposite of gratitude. So when you remind yourself that if you're not complaining at work, you can always have a high vibration. If you truly love it, fantastic. But if you really want to quit, you want to get away, it's very hard to have a high vibration. You have to be honest with yourself. Most people who are working the 9 to 5 job, they want more. It's just a fact. Because they realize that actually, you see, the 9 to 5 matrix, there's levels to it. There's someone above you and above you and above you. You got a boss, you got a manager, you got all of these things. Supervisor. So a lot of your happiness is tied into where you are in the hierarchy of the position. If you're at the lowest, it's very hard to have a high vibration. If you're the CEO, you're going to have a high vibration. If you're a manager, if you're telling other people what to do, you're going to feel great. If you're being told what to do and you don't like that, you're going to have not such a high vibration. We're in a time right now where you want to be self-made. You want to be your own boss. You want to be your own CEO. You want to be your own entrepreneur. We're in a time of this right now on the planet. And this is the reason why there's nothing wrong with a 9 to 5. But if you want more, you can only have a high vibration if you're truly loving what you're doing without complaining. How many times do you complain at work? Be honest with yourself. If you don't complain, stay there. If you do complain, get your ass out of there. Because I don't complain when I'm making videos. All I'm doing is breathing in that good ass prana, baby. All I can tell you is that there's a way out. There's a way out for you to do exactly what you love. So, like I said, the next major global event is about to strike. Be ready, deep divers. Be prepared. And also, let go of fear. Remind yourself, everything that's happening right now has already been prophesized. when you take a look at the state of the world, everything seems biblical, seems like something out of a scripture, like an ancient text. History has a strange way of repeating itself. I told you, everything happens in cycles. Everything happens in cycles. The same things that were happening thousands of years ago are the same things that are happening right now, because everything is happening simultaneously. We are in those times right now. Nothing has changed. And that's the reason why you have to realize humanity hasn't progressed. It's gone backwards. And you have to be part of the 1% to elevate and get your ass out of the 3D to the 5D. Do a little samba, baby. Raise the frequency. But you have to realize that so much is happening that people are in a state of trauma. You know, one of the states of trauma is that the more things that happen to you, you can't even process it. You're in a state of shock. Anything can happen to you in a state of shock. And the more things that happen, the less shocking it's going to be. They can say a whole island got wiped out tomorrow. You'll be like, okay, because you already seen so much. You haven't even processed what happened during COVID. A lot of people have mental issues, right? There's something called COVID anxiety syndrome. A lot of people are scared to go outside, scared to interact with other people. Yet they don't even have time to heal themselves. You got another thing to worry about. Wildfires, this happening, that happening. So humanity doesn't even have time to process an event because another one is around the corner. This is the time we're in. And this is the reason why you need to make a promise to yourself to heal yourself every single day, because humanity needs to heal itself. Humanity needs to heal itself because humanity is in a state of trauma. When people have gone through so much, they find ways to cope. Everything you see happening in the world, whether it's TikTok, all of these things, people are coping with what they've been going through. You can't blame people. That's their coping mechanism, right? The whole world is on some kind of drugs. The whole world is on some kind of drugs because many people are neurotic. And it's because people have been living in a perpetual state of fear since they were born. We have to make sure we choose love over everything and rise to a higher frequency. That's the secret. That's the secret, right? So we gotta elevate. Deep divers, we're in powerful times. Hit that like button right now if you support the real. Hit that like button right now if you support the real. Let's raise the frequency. I didn't play the intro song. Let me play it.
Skies pronounce your warning. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Hold on, the floor is caving. Your walls turn into cages. Your refuge will be your dances with the devil. Your power isn't special. We don't fit on your canvas. We burn it all to ashes now. 'Cause we are the outlaws. Cause we are
You've been dancing with the devil. Be careful who you gunning for, cause when it settles, it's only pain and grief when you living lawless. We only chase it if the chance of profit's flawless. We keep our eyes on the weak, they know that they targets. Hunting for goodwill, we ain't looking for bargains. And you should say a prayer, ain't nobody praying for you. Cause if I want it, then it's mine, that's what I'm saying to you. If you faint hearted, you better leave. You try and cross me, then you dead to me. Cause I'm in the business of making enemies. And there's a good chance that you may never leave. You feeling comfortable, you should never be. Cause I'm bringing pain if we should ever meet. Tonight you should really find a lifeline. Outlaws come alive in the nighttime.
Raising the frequency, deep divers, raising the frequency. Right? That was the intro song I should have played earlier, right? But, you know, like I say, deep divers, shout out to everyone who's here. There's so much to dive into. Let me know what's on your mind, deep divers. It's good to be back on the lives. Good to be back talking one-to-one with all of you deep divers, reading every single comment. Every single comment. Let me know what's been on your mind. We can talk about it. I'm answering every single message, every single question. Kalis thinks you are appreciated. Courage is only an accumulation of small steps. Ralph, I've been astral projecting during sleep and the visions are scary. I'm going through a transformation and the ancestors trying to connect. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. That's what's happening right now. A lot of people are having major downloads when they're going to bed because it all comes out in the nighttime. You know, the nighttime is where the subconscious mind is revealed to you. You can't run from your shadow in the nighttime. And many times the ancestors are trying to contact you, give you information, give you wisdom, give you warnings about what's happening. A lot of people get these premonitions, these intuitions, this foresight about what's going to come, what they need to know. And I always say it's a beautiful time when you have this information. And sleep is the best time to get it, the best place to get it. When you go to bed and wake up, you should have a whole encyclopedia of knowledge. You should have a whole encyclopedia. Say, wow, I got so much knowledge. I know exactly where to be, what to do. Right? Shout out to you. Let me shout out to David Tomes again. Thank you so much, David. David Tomes. I am killing myself with alcohol because of an abusive woman and it hurts. Well, David, let me send you some good energy. Let me send you some good energy. And let me remind you, David, never to turn on yourself. Never turn on yourself. We've got to remind ourselves that, thank you so much, David. Let me just tell you a bit about alcohol. People always say, Ralph, do you drink? And I always tell you that if I was to drink, well, I do drink water and kombucha and acai and things like that. But alcohol, I realize that it's a bad friend because it tricks you into thinking that if you spend time with it, your problems are going to disappear. Alcohol has destroyed more lives than people have. And I want to send you some good energy, David. I want you to remind yourself that sometimes we can be in a relationship with someone, it doesn't go well, or even if they're abusive, and we now drink because of this. So not only has someone hurt us, we now turn to alcohol as a solution, but that also hurts us too. That's why I say alcohol is a bad friend. And when someone is abusive to you, David, whether it's an ex-wife, ex-girlfriend, even a friend, you have to remind yourself in this moment that hurt people hurt people. Many people are abusive because they've also been abused. It's a vicious cycle. They abuse us, we now abuse ourselves. They hurt us, we now hurt ourselves. So there's a lot of hurt. It's an endless cycle. Someone has to break that cycle. That has to be you. And we do this by loving ourselves that little bit more, that extra little bit. You're going to have to remind yourself that so long as you don't turn on yourself, you will always be protected and supported. It's on you. People may turn on you, but if you don't turn on yourself, you're going to be just great. People have let me down, screwed me over, but I didn't screw myself over. I didn't let myself down. David, don't let yourself down. Deep divers are rooting for you. Don't let yourself down, because you need to be here. You are important. You matter. And the world needs your energy. If the universe didn't need you, you wouldn't be here. David, sending you good energy. Dimensional Veil, thank you so much for that. Thank you, Ralph, for all that you do. What are your thoughts on portals and alternate timelines? Do you believe in a parallel universe? Absolutely, they exist. You know, we've got to remind ourselves that so much is happening in this world that we don't know about. There are things that you don't know. There are things you know you don't know. And there are things you don't know you don't know. The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe was C.S. Lewis showing how portals work. He was showing you how a wardrobe, you just go inside of it, you end up in Narnia. Stories like this are just metaphors that actually there are wormholes. There are all kind of things in this universe. People go in, even in Egypt, they had stargates. You can go into one portal, come out the other side, be somewhere else. They exist. You have to remind yourself there are alternate timelines as well. There are things happening on this planet which are in different timelines than what's happening right now. Some people are living in the Stone Age right now. Some people are 5,000 years ahead, levitating, healing themselves instantly. You see, and they're in another timeline. An alternative timeline does not necessarily mean that these people aren't from this actual time. They can be from this time, born the same date as you, but they're on a different frequency, different vibration, different timeline, because they've transcended time itself. And you have to remind yourself that there are levels to this, levels upon levels. There are some people on this planet who can see through everything. They're old souls. It's like they've been here before. Some people are just coming in fresh, new souls. They don't know anything because they're on a different timeline. Great question. Shout out to you. Shout out to everyone. Deep divers, hit that like button right now if you support the real. Hit that like button right now if you support the real. Let me shout out to Greatness 121. You're most definitely appreciated. Thank you so much. Hi, Ralph. I'm grateful. I have a question. Why is it when you're doing well, negative energies attach? Do you think they can sense when something is doing well, or are they just trying to be a distraction? That's a great question. What did Denzel Washington tell Will Smith? What did Denzel Washington tell Will Smith? In your greatest moment, that's when the devil comes, right? That's just a metaphor. But in your greatest times, you have to be very careful. That's when things can get ugly. Things can go left, right? I'm left-handed, right? Things can go left, deep divers, because you have to realize, you see it even in theater, the two masks, the comedy and the tragedy go hand in hand. When something is great in your life, expect something else that's gonna be not so good. It's the contrast is everywhere. Like I told you, it's the law of polarity. You might win the lottery, but then something could happen to you. This whole dual nature of life, that's the reason why when great things happen to you, stay grounded. You don't lose your head. You almost got to act like nothing has happened. You got to see everything the same. And this is how that's why when I make videos, I never get hung up on a video. People say, Ralph, that's like the best video you've ever made. I'm like, nah, I haven't even made any video. What are you talking about? We haven't even started yet. So I don't say, okay, I've done a great thing. Everything for me is the same. And this is how you can transcend everything. So don't get caught up in saying, oh, I'm doing great. Just see that you're doing. That's like a Zen saying, right? Just see that you're doing, right? A lot of people, it's not that when things go great for them, any little thing that is not up to that same satisfaction, they say that's negative. When in actuality, it's not that it's negative. It's just that things aren't going the way you want. Because when you're doing well, what's happening? Everything is going the way you want. When things aren't going the way you want, you say that's negative. When nothing could be further from the truth. It's just that you might have to be patient. You might have to wait for something to go the way you want. So you have to remind yourself that you have to be careful in getting caught up in doing well. You have to realize there's always more to learn. I don't wake up and say, okay, I'm doing fantastic all the time. I realize that, hey, I got more to learn. I want to be in the training room. I want to train. I want to get better. I want to learn more. So it humbles me, right? So you got to be humble. Great question. Greatness, you're appreciated. Shout out to you. Deep diver, shout out to everyone who's here in the chat. I see all of you, right? I see all of you. Let me shout out to Chosen. Thank you for your guidance. Hey, Chosen, you're appreciated. I appreciate you. Shout out to you. Shout out to everyone who's here. And like I said, deep divers, we're in powerful times right now. The next big major event is about to strike, and people don't see it. Take a look around at what's happening in the world. Take a look around at what's happening in the world. And choose which world you want to live in, because many different worlds are happening right now for different people, which you can live in. You can choose if you want to live in the pandemic world, you want to live in the wildfire world, any world you want can be created for you. You have to decide. You can be free right now. And this is the great time we're in right now. It's a choice. Nothing can affect you if you don't allow it to. Nothing has power over you if you don't give it power. So we have to also remind ourselves that the time we're in right now is a time where we no longer have to blame the media. We no longer have to blame the government. We no longer have to blame outside there, because outside there is not controlling inside here anymore. It's on us right now. It's on us right now. We can choose the world we want to live in. And the less attached you are to the Matrix world, the more you can move into the real world. And that's where the magic happens. We're living in phenomenal times. I know it's hard as well for a lot of people out there. I'm here to remind you, it's going to be hard. But we don't want it to be anything but hard, simply because this is going to sharpen, it's going to sharpen your sword. And you have to remind yourself, we got to go to the next level. Every level is going to get harder and harder because there's levels to this. If you're someone who's been sitting on the couch eating pizza all day and Popeye's chicken and all of that, KFC, and someone says, hey, let's exercise, it's going to be hard. But the more you do it, it's going to get easier. Once again, no fear, deep divers. Right now, we have to let go of fear. We got to elevate. We got to raise the frequency. You must speak your truth right now in this day and time, more than ever. You must speak your truth right now in this day and time. The reason why is because you will find people who help you. I got a story for you, deep divers. So let me shout out to After School. After School, go and check out the YouTube channel After School. They did the Infinite Waters animation. We've done like 3 collaborations. Amazing work by After School. So I do videos, deep divers, every day in the heart of nature. And I was doing a video about how to escape the matrix. And After School created the most amazing animation. Go and check it out after this. And I'm like, wow, he just breathed life into it. And this is why you have to speak your truth, because you don't know who's watching. Someone can say, hey, we want to turn your work into a film. Hey, we want to write about you. Hey, we want to give you an opportunity. So you have to remind yourself that you never know who's watching you, right? So you have to realize that there is someone out there who's waiting to hear from you. There is someone out there in this universe who wants to hear you speak, because they're going to give you an opportunity. If you aren't doing that, how on earth are they going to find you? So I want you to cast it out into the ocean. Throw that bottle into the ocean. Let it sail. Let it float around. It's going to find someone. They're going to read your message. Don't block your blessings in these days and times. Because you see, part of what's happening on the planet is part of forming an alliance. Because human beings are so powerful together, even more powerful together. And when I realized that if I had just kept all of my thoughts to myself, there would be no Infinite Waters, there would be no community, there would be none of this. I had to open my big mouth and start speaking my truth. What happened for me? Big opportunities came my way. Doors opened. The fabulous life. All because I started to speak my truth. You also have a truth which you have to realize. If you don't say that to the world, you're never going to reap the benefits of your true blessings. That's a slow motion. Slow motion this side. So, like I say, together, no matter what happens, we're going to be all right. The reason why is because we're not afraid anymore. People now are wide awake. People now are wide awake and truly aware. Let me shout out to Bullseye 1423. You're so right. Even these females want to take you down. Shout out to you. You're appreciated. I always tell you this, that it's about realizing it's not females want to take you down. It's not men want to take you down. It's about realizing we need each other. Humans are traumatized. Women are traumatized. Men are traumatized. Men and women have to heal themselves. That's the reason why the divorce rate is at all-time high. Because people are dysfunctional within themselves. What on earth do they expect in a relationship? A relationship is a mirror of the relationship you have with yourself. A relationship is a mirror of the relationship you have with yourself. If that's not good, it's not going to be good with someone else, right? So these are all times of healing, times of change, and we got to look forward to it because big things are on the horizon. Not the doom and gloom, next pandemic, next this, next that. No, it's about our story now. It's about our new earth, our new community, our new vision for the world we want to live in. And we have to bring about it. We have to bring it about not by thinking about it, but by doing the active work to make it a reality. If anything over the last few years that's happened, if anything that we can learn from, it's that you have to act to make things happen. We've moved out of the time of wishful thinking. Right now, if you want it, go and get it. Go out there, make it happen. Don't wait till it comes to you. Go and make it happen. Right? I could have stayed in bed. Just imagine myself live streaming, like I'm live streaming. Wake up, Ralph. Go and live stream. Right? You got to make this stuff happen. And that means you have to prepare yourself. You got to get stronger. You got to get physically stronger. When I'm making videos, I got to get stronger. I got to be at a certain strength level, which I am, but I have to train. I'm not just making videos. I'm doing martial arts. I'm doing different things. I'm doing yoga. I'm doing skating. I'm swimming. I'm doing different things to have the strength to share. So a lot of people have great information to share, but they're tired. And it's you training your body to become stronger so you can share with people, right? Deep divers, let's go 80s. Hit that like button right now, share the video. Hit that like button right now, share the video. Let's go 80s. I'm so happy. The whole world is just beginning. We already won. It's about us all. So many beautiful deep divers here. Happy. manifest whatever you want, to be whatever you want. It's a choice. Freedom is a must. We have to become the spoon. We got to become the spoon, deep divers, right? That's what it's all about. Shout out to all of you deep divers. Like I say, I'm back. We never left anyway. And that's the secret, deep divers. Someone said, gosh, Ralph, I wish you could do a live stream. I'm like, don't you know I'm putting out daily videos? But that's the psychology of it. You see, people who are doing a lot, you just expect them to do like everything, right? And I can do everything. But it's just like a lot of people don't even realize that I'm just cooking up more magic. But you also have to take into consideration every day you're getting a new video, right? We're never going to stop. We can't stop. Jill Halls, shout out to you. You're appreciated. I just found your channel and I'm enjoying your inspiration and love. How do we go through this with young children? I am struggling. I love them so much. I just want to protect them. That's a great question. You're going to have to remind yourself that homeschooling is an option. You have to remind yourself that everything is aimed at your children. The distractions are for your children. To a certain age, limit the screen time of the children, but also realize your children are very intuitive. A lot of the children can actually teach you something themselves. You can learn from your children. But you have to remind yourself you don't want to overprotect your children because their destiny is already written out for them. Like the prophet said, Khalil Gibran, you don't own your children. They just pass through you. They've got a whole mission to fulfill. So we have to be careful of not being too protective. Your children are going to find out what they need to find out. They're going to learn the lessons they need to learn. And that's the gift of life. The universe is already protecting them. Right? We have to remind ourselves of this every single day. The universe is already protecting them. Let me definitely shout out to David Tomes. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your generous gift. Most definitely appreciate it. I appreciate your wisdom and all of your kind words from people in the chat. I will never forget your support and gratitude. So let me screenshot that. David, I definitely appreciate you. And like I say, I definitely appreciate your generous offering and your support for the show. I'm supporting you. We all support you. One thing you have to remind yourself of every single day is that this is not about me. I just created Infinite Waters, a platform of people to connect. I just created Infinite Waters, this platform for different people to connect. And what you're going through, David, you are definitely supported. You are definitely appreciated. You're definitely loved by this community. And remind yourself, hurt people hurt people. I know what it's like. Sometimes people screw us over. They've screwed me over, but I didn't screw over myself. And when you focus on that, David, everything changes. When you say, actually, I'm not going to let them win, because that's how they win. When someone abuses you and then you abuse yourself with alcohol, they win. But once they see you changing your life and how actually what they did is not affecting you because you're rising higher, they'll be saying, hey, teach me how you became a master alchemist. And I'm rooting for you, David. You know, in life, we've got to all remind ourselves, deep divers, we can be so high one day and the next day so low. And that's the reason why in life, we want to stay somewhere in the middle. That's what I always try. I'm never so high. I'm never so low. I'm just very grounded. You know, like I say, when I create a video, I'm not saying, oh my gosh, that's the best video. For me, I'm on to the next one. If you can do that with life, be on to the next one. Keep it moving. You're going to become a master alchemist. I've made things where I've screwed it up. I said, okay, don't worry, tomorrow I'll come again. And what you're going through, David, don't internalize the hurt. Remind yourself nobody can hurt you without your permission. You are truly powerful. And it's time for you to see that and realize a lot of these people who abuse us, they need help. They need a hug and they need love. You know, sometimes when you send these people good energy, you actually free yourself of the karma of holding that grudge towards them. When someone screwed me over one time, I was so angry. Then I realized actually this person had issues. Got nothing to do with me. Ain't got anything to do with me. So you got to remind yourself that you're dealing with a lot of different people in this matrix. A lot of people who have been carrying a lot of heavy trauma and they just dump it on you. And we think we're the problem when in actuality, the problem existed before we even met them. That was a slow motion. Right? So, like I say, deep divers, we're in truly powerful times. You know, this is not the time to be afraid of anything that's coming, but it is the time to be awake and aware. I want to also remind you that, reach out to as many people as you can who are on a similar frequency and vibration. Because the good news is that I see so many people are reconnecting with lost family members. I'm not just talking about the family they were born into. I'm talking about their extended soul tribe. People are now reconnecting with these people, and that's why they're getting the power back, right? Deep Divers of Planet Earth, I want to say thanks to everyone who's been here, everyone who's been diving deep. You know, I can talk for another 5 hours, Deep Divers, but, I'm just happy to share with you great information. I want to thank everyone who's been here, everyone who's been on this live stream. And let's keep diving deep. Let's keep spreading good energy. What does the future hold? Whatever you hold right now in the present, remind yourself of that. Let's focus on the world we wish to live in as much as possible. Deep Divers, hit that like button, share the video. Hit that like button, Deep Divers, share the video. Much love to everyone. Thanks so much for diving deep. And do I have another 80s somewhere? Shout out to all of you deep divers. Like I say, much love to all of you. Keep raising the frequency, raise the vibration. To everyone who's joined me, thank you so much. Peace, love, and harmony. And let me leave you with this from my good friend. Hit that like button, deep divers, share the video. Hit that like button, share the video. Remind yourself of your power. One love.
There's a call on humanity right now, and it's serious business. All around the world, you can feel it. The ascension is happening. The shift is kicking in. The conscious is getting higher and higher. You can feel the godliness. You can feel the power within. It's that time. Divine intervention. Divine intervention. A call for humanity to rise up to its power. Your power. Your power. Just rise up to your power. Just rise up to your power. To your power. 5D mind state. It's all about love. It's all about the people. It's all about you. It's all about me. It's all about we. And together, unity. And together, unity. Your power.
Let me shout out to Abness who created that. Deep Divers. Much love to all of you. Peace, love, and harmony to everyone who's here. I'll be back again tomorrow. Keep the frequency high. Keep the vibration high. Much love. All day, every day. Deep Divers. One love. Peace.